are not going to be a part of this week's podcast, Michael. I want to get this out of the way. I want to get it out right up front. We are recording this at 5 p.m. on a Thursday, and the Game Awards start in 90 minutes. So
they haven't even started yet.
Yep. And I'm not about to be like, hey, Michael, let's record this podcast like right between the time when you normally go to bed and when it's way too late for you to go to bed. So
yeah, you has to wake up at 6 in the morning for your day job that's 10 hours long.
Come on, man. It's for the video game website that I don't pay you to work on.
Exactly.
Come on.
You know you'll love it. It's
yeah.
like, what?
Yes. Yeah, so no Game Awards, but that's not going to stop us from having a big old RageSelect podcast right here on RageSelect. I'm Jeff.
And I'm not Jeff Keighley.
That's true.
I'm Mike, by the way.
If you pull your head off like Mission Impossible, you've been Jeff Keighley this entire time, I'm going to be mad. I'm not going to be excited. I'm going to be really mad. I'm going to beat Jeff Keighley to death in my room. Are you telling me that you know Hideo Kojima and you've been sitting across from me for what, 4 or 5 years now? Just like, yeah, that Kojima
wink,
guy.
Wink, nudge, nudge. Isn't he cool?
You son of a bitch. I'm mad right now, even though that was a joke. I'm mad. So yes, we are not going to be going over the Game Awards. We're going to save that for the last podcast of the year.
Pretty much every bit of giant news today that's coming out today.
Yeah,
we're pretty much ignoring.
Yes,
including some of the breaking stuff that happened pretty much like an hour or two ago.
Yeah, there's got to be a point where I cut it off. It can't just be infinity.
No.
So
because if not, we would literally just be recording over the Game Awards.
Yes, yeah, we would be like live reacting.
Yeah,
nobody likes live reactions.
People love live reactions.
Fuck that shit. I don't understand live reactions. I don't understand recording yourself opening up a box of something. Both of those are just like,
well, the box one I don't understand.
I'm too fucking old for that shit. Where it's just like, well, a part of it is the fact that when I watch a trailer for a video game, I'm never like, ooh, in person.
Well, that's the issue, is that we couldn't do live reaction ones because we don't react to anything.
Oh, cool.
What was it when we were playing a game that had like a jump scare and we're like, yeah, that thing came out.
Yep.
Like, we don't react to anything.
No,
we're not Markiplier or any of those guys.
That's why I have people like Amanda and Tessa who actually jump when the jump scares happen, and also why I don't play the super scary games, because then it makes me want to pee my pants. And so,
a lot of times you're always like, well, let me look at the monster first, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember what game it was.
Fortunately, there's other stuff to talk about, because we got a whole jam-packed week full of news. And at first, I was gonna.
It was Bendy, that's right.
Oh yeah, Bendy and the Dark Arrival. I was gonna start by saying I watched Bullet Train last week, because that shit was on Netflix.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot. I was gonna watch that, but I forgot.
But you know what? It was fine. It was great. Like, I really liked it. I think everybody should watch it. Like, it was very much like a Guy Ritchie movie. Like, it had some action, but it had a lot of like non-linear going back and forth, pausing with like text up on the screen and like, skirt, I bet you're wondering how I got over here. Like, it was fantastic. If you have Netflix, there's no reason not to watch that movie. Like, if you like action movies, if you like adventure stuff, absolutely no reason not to watch it. Loved it. I don't have any conception of how to judge a movie based on like, well, I went to the theater and spent $18 on a ticket and then $40 on caviar while I watched this, and the movie wasn't good, and so the caviar didn't taste as good. I got drunk and watched Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. It was fine, and
well, that's
I liked
how you're
it
supposed
quite
to
a
watch
bit.
movies like that.
Yeah. So, that's my recommendation. You know how Spill had their whole rating system? My system is like, I give it a get drunk and watch it on a Saturday night. You'll probably like it. Also, it works really good if you're used to watching 20-minute episodes of anime in between every beer, because every 20 minutes something happens in that movie, and then you just, you're going to stop, then you leave and you come back, and it's like watching the next episode of the movie, because it's one of those
movies.
The status quo changes all around. There's a bunch of different people doing a bunch of different things. You find out dramatic revelations, things happen, etc., etc. So yeah, Bullet Train. Thoroughly enjoyable.
Okay.
Thoroughly enjoyable.
That's good.
I recommend everybody watch it. But you know what? We actually had a bunch of movie trailers last week.
We did.
And I feel like I don't normally talk about movie trailers as much on RageSelect anymore, because there just haven't been as many that have been very good.
Well, a lot of the trailers have been for like stuff we didn't really give a shit about.
Yeah.
Because there hasn't been a lot of big studio things that aren't Avatar related.
Right.
In quite a bit.
Yeah, fuck Avatar. But last week we got we got one really good trailer, one medium trailer and one that I couldn't care less about. And
I'm curious as to what the order of this is outside of the Guardians one.
The Guardians one was the best. I love the Guardians. Guardians 2, like I've always said that Guardians 2 was like, I don't like it as much as other people like it, but I like it a lot more than a lot of the current Marvel stuff that's happening.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of stuff that's come out post Phase 3 has not been very good.
Yeah, like I like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 more than I like Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings or whatever.
I've rewatched so many movies from Phase 1 through 3.
Yeah.
I haven't had the urge to watch anything from Phase 4 that wasn't Spider-Man
Are you
related.
telling me you're not just putting the Eternals on every Friday night?
Yeah, I watch the Eternals all day. I jerk it to the one sex scene that lasts 10 seconds.
Ooh. I don't know. I'm really excited. Like I'm really excited. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I liked their Christmas special. I like what I'm seeing out of this. I like the kind of comedy beats with the neighborhood with all the weird furry people in it, and their weird like primary colored spacesuits that they've got.
Yeah.
Like it just looks like a good fun dumb time, and it probably doesn't hurt that I just got done watching that Guardians Christmas special, and I love the shit out of it. So,
well, it's really exciting because James Gunn has not failed me superhero wise once.
Yeah,
like he's one of the few guys that understands how superhero things work.
Yeah,
where he's like, look, this is goofy as fuck, but if I take it seriously the whole way through, you're never gonna even question it.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I like the fact that in the trailer that we're actually doing like, okay, so I was playing Midnight Suns, right? And I realized that like there's all these characters in Midnight Suns that if it wasn't for the MCU, like I knew Marvel, but I wasn't as much of a Marvel guy as I was like I don't know. I like the X-Men, right?
No, I get it. Yeah.
Like I didn't deal with Captain America when I was a teenager. I was just like Captain America. Capitalism America. Am I right, you guys?
I knew one guy who loved Captain America before the movies ever happened.
Yeah,
and then he was like 30 or 40 years older than I was.
Oh, look, I'm Iron Man. I'm a guy in a suit with lasers. I'm like, that guy's got claws and he's fucking invincible. He's got metal bones, Iron Man. Come on.
Yeah, because I read Spider-Man when I was growing up, so it was a lot of just like people would show up in his stuff.
Yeah,
but that was my actual like understanding of superheroes was if Spider-Man hung out with him once, I'd be like, hey, it's that guy.
Yeah,
like Big Hero 6. I found out who Big Hero 6 was before the movie came out because they showed up in a Spider-Man issue.
Right.
And that's literally the only reason.
But like, I'm playing this Marvel Knights game or this Midnight Suns game, and it's just like, oh, I know more about Doctor Strange. I know more about Agatha Harkness. Like, I know more about these various characters than I used to. But one of the things I actually do know about, because before I knew anything about the Guardians of the Galaxy, I knew who Drax the Destroyer was because I read the Infinity Watch comic.
Oh, okay.
Where Adam Warlock was like, it was Adam Warlock, Moondragon, Drax, Pip, and I think Gamora.
That sounds right.
Each one of them had one of the Infinity Gems, and they were like it was like post-Infinity War, because I was around when like I think part of that was actually going on.
That sounds right, because there was quite a few Infinity things for a bit.
Yeah. But like Adam Warlock and the High Evolutionary is like the Marvel version of when you start to get into the cosmic shit in the DC universe, where you're just like, man, you guys are going to have a hard time explaining this shit.
Oh, I still have a hard time understanding who Adam Warlock is, because I had a friend when I was growing up who was a huge fan of Thanos and Adam Warlock, and I was like, explain Adam Warlock to me. And when he was done, I was like, I didn't understand anything you just told me.
Yeah.
And then he was like, wait until I mention Magnus. And I'm like, I don't fucking, please don't.
So I like the fact they've got the matching costumes, the Guardians costumes, like they have in the comics.
He's got like his old G, like Star-Lord outfit.
I'm wondering if he's going to, do we ever see him? Does he have the dumb helmet? Like the weird looking old timey helmet?
Not in the trailer, at least.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if it shows up at some point.
Well, anyway,
for some reason.
We got three of these. Middle on the list, for me, is Transformers Rise of the Beast. I like Transformers, but I think that the Transformers that transform into animals are stupid.
No, I get that.
I'm sorry, everyone. I think Beast Wars is dumb. They transform into the car. So
he was already pretty adult when Beast Wars came out.
Well,
so.
The concept doesn't make any sense to me, because the Transformers transform into cars so that like the cops don't come and arrest them, or like the military. They're robots in disguise, right? But like, no gorillas are going to call the cops on a robot that they see. Like if they see an Optimus Prime, all the Baloo isn't going to pick up the phone and call like the jungle cops to come arrest the Transformers.
So you're saying you want Beast Wars to be a Jungle Book crossover?
No, I'm saying that the fact that they turn into animals so they can blend in with animals that obviously wouldn't blend in. Like the animals are going to know they're big metal robots. Like
probably, yeah.
Like we look at the cars. Cars are made out of metal, right? Like if cars were all made out of, like if all of our cars were like furry, right? Let's say they all had like bio-organic skin and fur on the outside.
Sorry, when you said was the car be furry, that was not my first thought.
Yes.
I was literally, no, we'll move past it.
If all of our cars had scales, let's put it that way, had like lizard scales on the outside, and then you saw a car that was made out of just raw metal, you'd be like, what's wrong with that car? That car's fucked up. Why is that car made out of metal and not scales like every other car? And then you would call the cops and they'd come arrest that car, or at least do something about it, right? Yeah. Or you would assume that something was wrong, and that's how I feel about the Beast Wars. Anyway, I do.
Well, they don't always look like metal. Is the thing.
I do love the stupid Transformers. I do love them, even though everybody else hates them. And I fully recognize that a lot of the movies are goddamn terrible. Specifically, 3, 4, and 5 are like
that was the reason people hated them. It was
atrocious.
We were just getting really bad Transformers movies, and then Bumblebee came out, and he was like, "You motherfuckers could have been making movies like this the whole goddamn time." And so this is the first time in a long time I've seen a trailer with a Transformer.
Yeah.
And I can point out what the character is supposed to be by looking at it. instead of it looking like, well, literally metal like slammed into each other.
Just like robot puke that's rolling around. Why do they have to roll so much?
They roll a lot. Well, it's because they got to roll out, Jeff.
There you go. So I don't know. I mean, like I'm semi-excited. Let me put it that way. Like,
no, I get that. Yeah, because this is the first time in a while I've looked at a Transformers movie, and I was like, you know what, this could be cool.
Yeah,
this could be really fun. Optimus Prime looks like Optimus Prime for the first time in a long ass time.
Mm-hmm.
And the Optimus Primal is an interesting idea.
Yep.
To bring into the cinematic stuff.
Also, I mean, I really like it when they have. I like the reason that I keep trying to explain this to people and nobody seems to understand is that like. I like to watch giant robots punch and shoot shit.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And there's no other place to get that. If you guys have a really good movie, like a non-Michael Bay, non-ballsack racist joke movie with giant robots having a war with each other, tell me about it and I will watch it. But like this is kind of the only option that I've had for a while now. So
no, I get it. That was the other like I said, that was one of the reasons it was such a hard thing to do, because it's like I want to see that, but then you got a kid, or not a kid, you got like a 20-year-old being like, I have this card laminated that says why I can fuck your daughter,
right? When
she's not like fully 18 or something.
Got Marky Mark fucking like negging grown men while he drinks a Bud Light on the street, and you're like, what am I watching here?
He's like, I'm an inventor. It's like, no, you're not.
or Shia LaBeouf dating all of the hottest women in the world completely inexplicably.
Yes.
Like it kind of made a little bit of sense with Megan Fox because they actually set it up, and then they get to 3 and it's just like, why?
Yeah, he just has a randomly hot girlfriend, and you're confused as to why or where she came from. You're like, I guess.
So yeah. Oh my God, we're already getting behind. Michael, anything else to say about Beast Wars?
No.
Okay.
I actually have more to say about this next one than anything
Indiana
else.
Jones. I'm a big fart noise thumbs down for Indiana Jones.
So I'm actually interested in watching this.
Okay.
Because I am a giant Indiana Jones nerd.
Okay.
It was technically my graduation present, which is the funniest thing. I was given $40 and they're like, spend it on whatever, and so I bought the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Okay.
And so what's interesting about this is, besides the de-aging thing, is that rumors are it's a time travel story.
Okay.
And so there's some stuff in there that might support that idea. So maybe that might come into the de-aging stuff. So I'm curious as to what's really is the plan here.
Okay.
And what the ending to it will be, because this is apparently supposed to be his like farewell, because of course it should be, because he's like 70. So it's like, what else could you do with him at that point?
Yeah.
And like, with the main issue is the sheer amount of CGI faces that happened during action sequence. Like, okay, we just saw the horse sequence is the part that I point to the most.
Yeah.
There's a sequence where he's on a horse and it does like the Hi-Ho Silver pose, but his face doesn't move.
It doesn't move at
all. And it's just creepy.
It's a picture of a face.
Completely takes you out of the trailer. But the movie still has plenty of time for them to hopefully fix that, because that shit is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, like, I really liked the first and third Indiana Jones movies, and the second and fourth I did not enjoy very much.
I have fun with them. The fourth one is a movie, though, that like you have to either accept the nuking of the fridge,
right,
or you're not going to accept any of the rest of the movie for the most part.
Yeah, I think it's. I think that just about every Indiana Jones movie has ended on a good point for Indiana Jones to retire and never come back. And they keep being like, no, put a bunch of cocaine in Harrison Ford, prop him up with a coat rack. We're going to make another Indiana Jones. We'll CGI all the arm movements this time. Mr. Ford, you don't even have to move your arms. You can just like stand there, get stoned. You don't even have to talk. We'll put in all the talking. You could just look straight forward. We'll do all of that in post. Like,
well, the funniest thing is Indiana Jones is one of the only like franchise characters he's played that he gives a shit about.
Yeah,
because people were like, who should replace you as Indiana Jones? He's like, this franchise will die with me, damn you.
So yeah,
from my cold dead hands.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, speaking of movies based on properties that should totally be dead right now, we got a full-on trailer for The Last of Us. Sorry, I mean
That's
everybody.
A bold statement after Last of Us too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean everybody's favorite video game that is totally great and not played out, and they should have like left alone a long time ago. This one has a lot more. The previous ones have been mostly like teasers.
Yeah, this one actually is like full blown sequences.
Yeah, I think I figured out part of. I figured out two things when I watched this trailer, Michael.
What's that?
One is that it looks so much like the video game that I'm like. When I've told the story a bunch of times. I'll tell the very short version. For years, I was like, why don't they just make comic book movies where they just film what's on the comic book page, and they can get a really good story, and they can film it, they can put it on the movie screen, and then everybody can see what was so good about the comic. And then I saw that it was called Sin City, where they just filmed the comic book like panel for panel.
Same with Watchmen, the first Watchmen.
And I went and I watched it, and I was like, yep, this is exactly panel for panel what happens in the comic. And I am bored as fuck because I've already read this comic 100 times. And like,
it's worse when they miss the point.
I've played this game like 3 times, and I'm not seeing much more here than what was in the game. And so if it's just mainly the beats of the game, like, this is a general question. I'm not even just trying to put like cranky Jeff Last of Us stuff out there. Is like, do you really want to watch something that is just the exact same story from the game that you've already played multiple times?
Well, that's always been the argument for why video game movies don't usually work out.
Yeah.
Is because when you're like, well, do you want it to just be the game? Because if you want it to just be the game, then play the fucking game.
Right.
Or watch a Let's Play the game if you don't feel like playing it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, so we end up getting movies that are like, well, we're going to take the concept and then run with that, but then it fails because it's just a mishmash of sequences that are from games,
right,
that don't work because they don't have the build up to those scenes. If that makes sense. Like, that was the issue with the Uncharted movie, for instance. They're like, what if we did the airplane sequence from Uncharted 3? I'm like, yeah, but this isn't that interesting because there isn't all this build up as to why he ends up doing that by himself to begin with. And it's a whole thing. That's the issue with video game movies. And it's the issue with the Metal Gear Solid movie that they're like, we're going to make a Metal Gear Solid movie. I'm like, why?
Right.
That game is so long, and you couldn't really mishmash all that together. And if I wanted to, I'll just play the game again.
It's also a question, and again, I'm genuinely asking here,
This
man.
is all for like newer games, by the way. I'm not saying like if somebody was making a game based on a Super Nintendo game, then you have some more leeway.
Is the question of like part of the thrill of playing The Last of Us, right, was their whole low resource economy, like having to kind of put together a plan on the fly, stealth sneaking, and a lot of that was based on your input as the player, right?
Yeah.
Like, so when you just managed to squeak by a combat encounter and you wasted maybe 2 more bullets than you should have, and you're like, fuck, this is going to catch up with me next time. Like, I got to see if I can make some more med packs. Like, you're not going to get any of that from this. You're not in control of this guy.
No.
Like,
you
the
can't,
Mandalorian's going to do whatever the Mandalorian does.
You can't ask him to throw bricks at people.
Right. You can't play a whole playthrough where all he does is throw bricks into people's faces. So the question becomes, like, if you take away the interactivity, but then you just tell a story that people are already very, very familiar with, is that entertaining? And I guess the answer is probably yes. People seem like they're really into it. I don't know.
I think the main thing about this is that this isn't for the full gamer.
Yeah.
It's more like a companion to the gamer.
It's more for
because-
people that kind of know of the game but never played it type of thing.
Yeah, I feel like this is like that idea where it's the idea with comic books when they adapt comic books into things.
Right.
It's like this isn't for like this is a nice treat for people who've read or played whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
But this is definitely going to try to skew closer to the general audience. It's like The Walking Dead is a good example of that. The Walking Dead, the first chunk of it was so accurate.
Yeah.
So incredibly accurate. And then it stops being so incredibly accurate from then on. And I wouldn't be surprised if The Last of Us does something similar to that.
Okay. Yeah, sure. The other thing is, it's from the guy that made Chernobyl. Everybody really liked Chernobyl. I didn't watch it.
I saw parts of it, and it was really good. But it's one of those things where it's like, do you want to watch horror that's based on history? I'm like, not really.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch a guy be like, let's murder all the dogs. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Do you watch somebody get their face melted off? Like, that actually got their face melted off? You're like, no. Nah.
Nah, I'm good.
I'm not at a point where I'm just like, you know what this world doesn't have enough of? Like, bad news and downers and shit.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the reason I haven't played. That's the reason I never played Last of Us 2. Because it came out in the middle of the downiest time in the history of the universe.
jeez. That was, wait, no, it was 2 years ago. Game Awards 2020 gave all the awards to Last of Us 2,
Yeah,
right? Like,
except for People's Choice thing, and that's because everyone voted for Ghost of Tsushima.
oh, People's Choice this year is a whole different thing that we will get to eventually.
Oh, it's kind of funny.
All right. Well, speaking of weird feelings, let's do an update to our Panda Express Esports Super Tournament Smash Brothers Ultimate Fighting Pandas story
what
that
does
we
the
did last
fortune
week.
cookie say for it?
I ate. You know what? You know what? I told the story on this show. I don't know. It was a long time ago where I went to Panda Express and I asked the guy for the food, and he put so little food in it that when he closed up the container, I literally laughed at his face and said, "You could throw that shit away," and just like walked out of the Panda Express without paying, because I was like, "How are you light-handing me on rice? Like, this is the cheapest food that man has ever created." It was actually noodles, but whatever. It was still like cheap. And yesterday I went to Panda Express. I decided to give it another try. It's been like fucking 6 months. I used to go to Panda Express all the time. Went there, I got home, opened up my thing, go, oh, lots of orange chicken here. How the fuck did you only give me like a 2/3 of a portion of goddamn noodles? Anyway. So last week we had a story about how Nintendo and Panda and the Smash Forever, what do they call
Smash Tour, Smash World Tour,
Smash World Tour had all had a problem with licensing the Smash World Tour, etc., etc. There have been some updates. I read the Google Docs that the Smash World Tour people put out, where they like talked back to Nintendo. I don't think I had read those last week. I read the
I
Medium
didn't even know that
post,
was a thing. Yeah,
but they talked back to them. Again, I'm gonna say right now that like there is a there is a read that you could have on this situation where those guys are not like fully at fault, but that they don't come off as like the fucking scrappy heroes of the story that they think that they are.
No.
We're like, you know, part of the... Okay, so let's just go over it really briefly. We have these guys that are running an unofficial Smash Brothers tournament. Nintendo licenses with this company called Panda to do official Smash Brothers tournaments. In the background, the Smash World Tour guys are trying to get like permission basically from Nintendo to do their finals, because they've been doing tournaments all year. It kind of goes back and forth, and at the end of the day, Nintendo says, we will not officially license you to be a Smash Brothers tournament. Also, there should be no tournaments that are not officially licensed. Smash World Tour cancels their tournament. Nintendo says, we didn't say cancel it. We just said those other two things. They say, you said... we understood that to mean cancel. And then there's also this thing where the CEO of Panda is going around like trying to absorb other tournaments into this Panda bracket, like threatening people who go against him.
Yeah.
Just being a real douchewang, like just out there in the world, fucking big dicking everybody about the game where Mario punches Zelda in the face. Like,
yeah, it was so petty.
Yeah.
Of everything.
So part of this, I'm going to say that the Google Docs that I read, part of those Google Docs seemed to me to be like, I firmly believe that there was somebody at Nintendo that was just like, we're going to let you guys have your tournament. we're not going to do anything, we're not going to make any announcements, we're not going to announce these rules or whatever, and that the Smash World Tour guys kept asking them this combined question of like, well, can we do our finals, and are we going to continue to negotiate for what's going to happen in 2023? And the people at Nintendo knew, we are not going to do this in 2020. Like, we don't want to cut you off on your finals, but 2023, we've signed contracts with these guys to do our official Smash thing. We're not doing unofficial anymore.
Yeah, we're not doing multiple official ones, is what they're trying to say.
Right. You know, and like, we're not doing this. And then I kind of get the feeling that the Smash World Tour people kept bugging them, and to the point where they were like, fine, no is the answer. Like, we're not going to be signing, we're not going to be giving you permission to move forward in 2023. We don't think that your overall organization like lives up to the bullshit that we've written down. Like, this is their whole excuse for this, was that they're like, it doesn't live up to the standards of the things that we put down on paper, blah 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 blah. And then, like, because there's in the both of the Google Docs, they were just like, they had this weird thing where they just said, like, they said that it just like, what did they say? It was like that it was over, that it just didn't work or something like that. Anyway, I feel like the Smash World Tour people didn't have a contingency, pushed the issue too hard, should have just done their tournament instead of trying to get Nintendo to specifically say, to write down on a piece of paper, yes, you are allowed to do your tournament. They should have just gone through with it, and it probably would have been fine.
Well, the issue, I think, is they were just too worried about. They didn't want to piss off Nintendo. To them, they were on thin ice.
Sure.
And they're like, well, maybe we can, because to them it was the idea of, we're not hearing a no, because it's like, we just want to desperately make sure we're official, because it's I think the idea is, what it was is that they were so close to being official that they wouldn't let it go, because that's what they've wanted this entire time.
Right.
And it's that whole thing where it's like, you see it in the distance, you're never gonna catch the dragon, Stan. Right. That's the issue. You're never gonna catch the dragon.
Right.
And they were like, I'm so close, guys.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking close. Like, it's right there. I just have to reach, but the dragon was already hanging out with the panda. And so the issue,
this metaphor's going
somewhere has gone off the rails. The issue is that, like, by then they didn't want it. They were so just obsessed with the idea, that they were just they wanted it so bad, and they didn't want to just be like, well, we'll continue this tournament, but they were worried that it was going to be seen as an FU to them, to Nintendo, because Nintendo is very thin-skinned when it comes to anything that's unofficial.
Sure.
Like, for all they knew, they could continue. And then the second they were like, and then there's also a cash prize, and then a bunch of guys dressed in Super Smash Brothers characters are going to break in and beat them up.
Right.
Like, that's a fairly normal thing to be worried about.
The thing is that they kept making, like, I think that the thing is that when you're dealing with a corporation, I personally take the opinion that it is better to ask for forgiveness than permission, right? Because
that's what they should have done. Yeah.
If Nintendo doesn't want you to do it, they will send you a cease and desist. They've done it 100 times. We've had stories about it this month about that. I got a story about it today. Like,
they would have sent it like the second they asked them.
The thing is that I get the impression that it was just like, this is one of those situations where if you just if you guys just don't fucking say anything, it's going to be fine. I think the problem here is that somehow these guys did not understand that, like, Panda signed a contract with Nintendo. So you might be able to do your finals, but next year you are going to get a cease and desist. It doesn't matter how much goodwill you've brought up. Nintendo gives no fucks. Like, if you just fucking, like, be cool, you could probably get through this year. But that, like, they keep talking in some of their docs about how, like, we really wanted to make sure that we were going to be on good footing next year. And it was like, if you guys didn't understand when they signed the Panda deal, when they announced this Panda deal, that your days were numbered, I don't know what you should have done that. Like, it should have been clear that, like, it was only a matter of time.
I don't think it was clear to them, because based on some of their statements, to them, they thought we were in negotiations.
No,
they never, like, but I think the issue is that it's a bunch of people who are giant nerds who don't understand social cues.
Yes.
And Nintendo's winking at them as hard as they can.
Right.
And they're like, I don't understand.
Do you need some Visine? Should I call somebody?
Should I call somebody? Something in your eye? I got some allergy meds or something.
Yeah.
If you need those. And then they're like, okay, fine, no.
Anyway, all that is to say there was an update to this story where this week, Panda Global kicked out their CEO.
Well, yeah, I did read. Man, the internet's fucking ripped them a new one, guys.
Yeah, which is, like, this was not seen favorably by the Smash community. Again, I think that in this case, Nintendo was probably trying to let them have an out to finish their season. The internet, though, especially Smash Brothers fans who used to probably still do downvote any Nintendo Direct that doesn't mention Smash Brothers.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they're not operating on logic. They're zealots for the cause of Smash Brothers.
Well, in this instance, there is some logic behind it.
Sure,
because Alan is the scapegoat.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if because they treat it as if Alan was the lone gunman who assassinated Smash World Tour.
Right.
And so they've all turned on that guy immediately.
Yes. So much so that Dr. Allen is no longer the CEO of Panda, effective immediately, and his position has been replaced with an interim management committee that is going to collectively act as CEO, whose names will not be public, because that's where we are on the internet. Is like, if you say who they are, then the internet will go after them and dig up anything they can to make them so they're just like, no, but the thing I wanted didn't happen, so like I'm gonna attack them until it happens. So
yeah, that's the.
Also, they postponed their finale because of security concerns, because there's a good chance that some fucking crazy person might show up and be crazy, but they're also going to be like letting people
so
out of their
this is the
contract.
Second statement that they did then.
Yes,
because there was a nothing statement prior to this.
They put out one that was just like, we condemn all the bullshit. We never had any intention to do anything stupid or bad. This is the one where they're just like, our CEO is gone. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. He's gone. And he's been replaced with a shadowy cabal of anonymous people that we will not name. Also, if you want out of your contract, we'll let you out of your contract. Also, the finals have been canceled. It's like, okay, cool. Good job, everybody involved, from Nintendo to Smash World Tour to Panda, from the top to the bottom. I feel like everybody has something stupid that they've done in this story. So.
Oh, absolutely. And now they're all these Smash people are boycotting them. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, no one won. Not a single person won in this entire system.
Yep. Nothing was gained.
No. Even all the Smash players lost. Everyone lost.
Yep.
No one fucking won this shit.
Yep.
It's stupid. I think of that old Norm Macdonald bit where he's just like, this might offend some of you viewers, but I think everyone involved in the story should die.
Yeah, I think that there was probably I'm sorry. I'm not trying to come down on the regular reasonable people that listen to the RageSelect podcast. But like, again, I've seen the live chat during Nintendo, Nintendo Directs when they premiered them, when they were streams.
God, it was
just, where's Smash? Where's Smash? Where's Smash? And be like, Nintendo Indie Direct. It's all about Cuphead and not about Smash Brothers. People are like, next Smash when? Next character when? When? Like, it would just be like.
It was also a lot of like bad character choice was the other thing when they made announcements.
So
wasted slot.
I tend to rank the Smash community among the more like screaming and loud and reactionary people on the internet.
Well, the issue is that the Smash tournament community has one of the worst reps of any tournament community. Yeah. Specifically, the reveals over the last couple of years that a bunch of them were diddlers. And so that was the whole thing.
Yes.
The reason I remember that, the reason I'm saying that is because I always think of the meme where it was Frank just being like, find out my favorite Smash player is a diddler.
Oh, yeah.
Just cracks me up every time.
So, anyway, I don't know. Maybe this will work. Maybe
write a song about it.
Maybe just nobody gets to do anything Smash-related for a few years, and everybody needs to calm the fuck down and have their own tournaments with their friends.
They really should just stop for a bit.
Anyway.
Just let it go for now, guys.
We'll see. Let's see. From there, in another Nintendo news, Microsoft has signed a deal to bring Call of Duty to the Nintendo Switch for 10 years.
Huh.
Yeah.
So what I love about this news is game media reactions who don't know what Nintendo has on their store nowadays. Because I was reading one where they're like, it's so weird that Nintendo would bring such a thing to its family-friendly console.
Oh.
And then I'm like, what year do you think it is?
Oh, you're still using your Nintendo Wii store, aren't you?
Yeah. And even then, there were some Call of Duty games on that sucker, too.
Yep.
So it's just like, what year do you think it is, my friend?
The funniest thing about this story, Michael, is that it's not about Nintendo. It's about Sony.
Well, because Sony didn't take the 10-year deal.
Yeah, because
Nintendo did.
Because as part of Microsoft trying to get this fucking like acquisition of Activision done, they offered Sony a 10-year not exclusivity, but a 10-year guarantee. Call of Duty will be on your platform for 10 years.
Yeah.
Sony did not accept it. So then they offered one to Nintendo, who did accept it, and they offered one to Steam, and this is my favorite part, who did not accept it. And Gabe Newell came out and was like, this is the steamiest thing I've ever heard, like the most Steam thing. He came out with this statement where it's just like, hey, we don't need contracts for Steam. Like I've talked to Phil Spencer. He's a good guy. I trust him. You do whatever you want to. Like you come to Steam, don't come to Steam. You do whatever you want.
That sounds like
we'll
Gabe
be
Newell.
Here.
Yeah, that's the most Gabe Newell thing I've heard all day.
Yeah. Oh, here's Gabe Newell. We're happy that Microsoft wants to continue using Steam to reach customers with Call of Duty when their Activision acquisition closes. Microsoft has been on Steam for a long time, and we take it as a signal that they're happy with gamers' reception to that and the work we're doing. Our job is to keep building valuable features for not only Microsoft, but all Steam customers. Microsoft offered and even sent us a draft agreement for a long-term Call of Duty commitment, but it wasn't necessary for us because, A, we're not believers in requiring any partner to have an agreement that locks them to shipping games on Steam into the future, and B, Phil and the games team Microsoft have always followed through on what they told us they would do, so we trust their intentions. And C, we think Microsoft has all the motivation they need to be on their platforms and devices where Call of Duty customers want to be. It's
so fucking crazy. So Microsoft has all these guys on their corner when it comes to the Call of Duty argument.
And of course Nintendo would sign that. Like, oh, you want to bring one of the most profitable game franchises to our system, even if it's a cloud version, right?
Well, to them, they're just like, we didn't have any plans anyways.
Right.
Like, if you want to bring it to us, we're not going to fight you on it.
Sure.
Like, to them, this is just like, this is a
free
win.
money.
Yeah, it's free money.
Yeah. You can bring a crappy version of Call of Duty. It can be like, oh, the Switch version is the worst version of Call of Duty. And it's like, okay,
cool.
It didn't do anything for us. We're still like the top selling console, and like people still buy Mario games. So
yeah, it's not like they were putting Call of Duty on the Switch or any like
it's not an
any
exclusivity deal.
Yeah, they don't fucking care.
Yeah. So this is kind of interesting because this does kind of put the ball into Sony's court of just like, hey, Sony, everybody else is cool with this. Seems like this might not be so much about that Call of Duty that you're talking about. Like, seems like you might just not like this whole thing, but
there's a lot of that argument going on right now on the internet.
I'm still kind of torn where, like, I think that I've kind of come to the conclusion I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if they buy Activision because all of the games that Activision makes are games that I don't give any shits about. And
what's the age-old It's
care.
Always Sunny thing? He's just like, hey, D, Microsoft's buying Activision. It's like, well, I don't care. Well, shit, I don't care either.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead. I don't care. Monopoly. I care more about the fact that they bought Bethesda.
Yeah.
And then nobody raised an eyebrow. And then we've got like the fucking
no one questioned any of it.
The United States government and the British government, the Brazilian government are all just like, but hold on with this Activision shit. Like,
I'm just like, look, are we gonna get any Activision games that aren't Call of Duty out of this? Because I'm cool with that.
Can I get some Blizzard games on Game Pass? Like, can I get Diablo 4 without having to pay for it?
Could we get like a new Spyro game out of this? Because I'm cool with that. Like, that's the thing is like I want
to bring back that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 or whatever they were working on.
I want games that aren't Call of Duty out of. That's all we really want out of it. Like if you buy it and then you just decide if you keep it the same way, then I'll be annoyed.
Yeah.
But if Phil Spencer notices, hey, look at all these actual fucking franchises people care about, then we got a chance at getting some things.
Just look, man. Make Spyro the Dragon the mascot of Xbox. Just do it. Turn him green. Everybody will be mad. It's fine. They'll get over it. They'll get over it.
They'll bring Skylanders back.
Yep. and then just let Toys for Bob make Spyro games for your console as like, here's you got a mascot. The next E3, have a guy come out in a big Spyro suit on the stage and be like, it's me, Spyro, your favorite Xbox mascot.
It's me, Spyro.
Yeah. Yeah. In other Blizzard news, oh boy, we got a lot. Let's see. Apparently, we found out what Blizzard meant when they said that it was going to be easier to unlock characters in the Battle Pass. They said, we heard you, Michael. They said, we heard you. We heard that you don't like how long the Battle Pass was, that it took too long to unlock the character, that we were trying to make the Battle Pass irritating so you would spend the money on. So we've heard that you were irritated. So we have reduced the amount of time that it takes to unlock Ramatra from level 55 on the Battle Pass to level 45 on the Battle Pass.
Oh, God. That's better? Question mark?
Also, we have slightly reduced how onerous the weekly tasks are so that you can like grind a little bit faster in order to unlock the character that used to be completely free in this franchise. Where it used to be you could just load the game up and update and try out the new character without having to pay for it or play a game that you're not interested in for a lot of hours in order to see whether you wanted to unlock them. So
yeah, because these battle passes are not exactly cheap to begin with.
Nope.
Because it's like, what? That's 20, right? Something like that? Or is it 10?
It doesn't matter.
For the premium one.
I don't know, and it doesn't
Either
matter.
way,
Like,
that's a lot for just one character each time.
well, especially because, remember, Overwatch 2 came out, 3 months ago? So if they're
Has it been 3 months already?
If they're going to be putting out, like, a new character every 3 months for $10 if you don't want to grind.
Oh, God.
Like, are you kidding me with this shit? Let's see. Overwatch 2. It came out on October 4th.
Oh, shit. Yeah,
October, November, December.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. That was
a hell of a guess.
Yeah, yeah. Old brains shooting on all cylinders. So, yep, I think this is stupid. That's fine though. There's no stopping the stupidity when it comes to Blizzard. Apparently Blizzard is just horrible.
No, the whole thing is terrible. The whole situation has been very frustrating.
Yeah.
Again, it's why them being bought out may turn a corner. Who knows?
Maybe Microsoft will be like, hey guys, you can make like 30% less profit and it's okay with us. Just like take all of your monetization schemes and dial them back by a third. Like if I could unlock Ramatra with like, I don't know, 3 Mondays worth of grinding, I could do that. Like,
yeah,
but
well, 25 seems a little more reasonable because those tend to be easier to get to than 45
but
of a 50 fucking level battle pass.
But it doesn't really matter because the people like at this point they're catering to the whales. So it doesn't matter because like Diablo Immortals made a shitload of money. So it's not like they learned their lesson.
No, well that's the thing. They never learned their lessons.
Yeah.
They have not once learned a lesson.
Yep. True. Well, maybe they'll learn a specific lesson because Blizzard Albany became the second unionized studio this week. Activision Blizzard tried to do that bullshit where they tried to block the vote with the National Labor Relations Board
every time
by saying no, everyone should vote. All of the studio should vote, not just your 18 QA people. And then National Labor Relations Board was like, no. And then they voted, and then they unanimous. It was like 14 and 3 abstentions, and like nobody voted nay. So, yep, there you go. Here's another one. Again, I can't help but say we're not going to spend too long on this because we spent a long time talking about these union things.
It's come up quite a bit,
but like. I know that so many video games. I know Strauss Zelnick is like listening to the RageSelect podcast right now. I know that Yves Guillemot, he never misses a podcast.
It's their favorite show,
right? It's just like everybody knows that QA is one of the lowest paid, worst treated jobs in the video game industry.
But there was a whole contest, Jeff.
If you pay them slightly more and treat them a little bit better, they won't unionize, at which point you have a whole different problem. Like, you could make it work if you just didn't treat them like scumfuck dogs.
Would they be interested in a pizza party, Jeff?
Right. You gotta break them like dogs. Like,
we got you 5 Little Caesars pizzas.
The cheapest pizzas.
And some Sunkist soda.
Yep.
That came free with one of them.
Yes. We also canceled lunch, and you have to work overtime.
Yes. This all counts as lunch.
So actually, I have a second union story this week, Michael, but this one's very different. Now, because the QA department at Xenimax unionized.
Really?
This is 300 QA
oh shit
workers. And there was absolutely no interference because Microsoft has been like,
it's because they glitched.
I no, because Microsoft's policy for this has just been like, I'm not getting involved. You do whatever you want to. Like,
they're in the middle of like a very intense battle for more money.
Yeah.
So it's like we can't look bad right now.
They're also an incredibly rich company.
Probably didn't even notice, to be honest.
Yeah. So yeah, nothing happened. In fact, the Communications Workers of America president Christopher Shelton put out a press release that said, "We applaud Microsoft for remaining neutral through this process and letting workers decide for themselves whether they want a union. The company is fulfilling the commitments they laid out in their labor principles earlier this year, while sending a resounding message to the video game industry. The right to freely and fairly make a choice about union representation should be in the hands of the workers, not management." So that just happened like so smooth, right? Like,
yeah, you forget that this is that this can happen without any fighting, in any shape, way, or form.
Yeah, where they don't hire like fucking lawyers, to set up Slack channels where people can only use emojis to communicate, and they talk about how like, oh guys, it's so much better when you can directly negotiate with management and they can fuck you 1-to-1, face to face.
Hey,
right?
fellow workers, isn't it awesome that pizza's really good?
Yes.
It's like, what?
Man, okay. How much time do I have here? How much time do I have? Yeah, I got a little bit of rant time. Those fuckers. Okay. Well, first off, the inflation at Panda Express is out of control because a 2 entree plate used to be $7, now it's $9, and I can get real Chinese food for $10. I don't have to go to Panda Express.
That's true.
But what I'm more mad about is that $7.99 3-topping large pizza carry-out deal at Domino's is now a 1-topping carry-out deal at Domino's.
Is it really?
Yes, it's like $7.99, and you get a large 1-topping pizza, and I'm like, but I want sausage and mushrooms and pepperoni, like. But then I ordered from them, and then they sent me an email. They were like, "We're giving you a tip. Like, here's a $3 tip code that you can cash in next week, only next week." And I'm like, "Well, that could cover another like 1 topping." But then also, I pooped myself inside out yesterday after eating Domino's pizza.
You keep doing that to yourself, by the way.
Well, I don't do it very often, but sometimes it has to be done. Okay, sometimes my colon must be tested. And it usually fails.
You gotta clean it out with Domino's.
That's right.
That's what your doctor told you.
Anyway, just like all of my
Jesus Christ.
They're like, the price of airline tickets has gone up, and I'm like, I don't care. And they're like, the price of bread has gone up. I'm like, I don't buy bread. What am I, a fucking peasant? And like, but the price of Domino's has gone up. Wait a minute now. Wait just a fucking minute here. Like,
how do the Ninja Turtles pay for inflation?
Yes, exactly.
No one saw that coming.
Anyway, speaking of prices going up, we also got the news from Microsoft that the Xbox first-party games are going up to $70.
I'm shocked, Jeff. Shocked.
Well, they said that this was going to happen, but this means that Starfield, the new Forza, Redfall, a lot of the new first-party Microsoft games next year, well, quote-unquote Microsoft, now that they're just like a big fucking spider octopus, are going to be $70. So
if only they had some sort of pass that you could just get all these without having to worry about this price.
Yeah, I mean, at least for $20 a month, I can like not pay $70.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, they know what they're doing. The price hike in this instance is good for them because it makes them think more about the idea of Game Pass more.
Yeah,
this is some 4D chess ass shit. Is all I'm saying.
Either that or just like everybody's raised. Sony broke the seal and raised their prices, and so it's just a matter of time for everybody else is like, okay, now we're doing it. Like,
yeah, but everyone was pretty instant about it.
Yep.
Xbox actually waited.
Yep,
which is why I think it's more interesting.
I think it'll be interesting to see if Nintendo does it.
That's
probably
fair.
not until the next console comes out, because I don't think that they can really justify raising the cost for Switch games.
Yeah, the issue with them is they've always been the cheaper option.
Yeah.
And I don't think they want to be the more expensive option anytime soon.
I also think they could probably afford it, because it's like, well, their games might be $60, but they're $60 forever.
No.
They do not mark down their games
they
very
never-
often.
Like if they do, it's purely because something went horribly wrong with that game.
or it's
Like
been
Star
like
Fox is a great example of
8
that.
years since it came out.
Even then, that hasn't changed for some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them got more expensive because they got harder to find.
How much? Let's see how much Mario is.
Mario Odyssey?
Yeah, because that was like a launch game, right?
It was one of the first
launch
ones,
window?
the first year kind of ones.
Let's see here. Can I just search? Yeah, there we go. Mario. Mario Superstars, Battle Striker. Okay, I gotta type in Odyssey.
You'd have to put Super Mario to make it pop up right away.
There we go. Super Mario Odyssey. Wow,
$60 digital.
$60 digital and physical.
Well, that's on their store. What
Yeah.
about what would GameStop sell it for that much
Let's see what,
physical?
Let's see what old Amazonian has for it. Yes, thank you, Jeff.
Amazonian.
Mario. Let's see. Let's find out.
Because I'm trying to base it on like an in-store price is the thing.
Mario Odyssey for the Switch is $55,
and it's on sale.
On sale. Let's see. How about
For $55, by the way. I'm not saying it's it's on sale for that much.
GameStop.
Yeah, because they don't normally go down in price. They are always super fucking high.
That game
no
is
matter what.
so old, though. $45 at GameStop
For pre-owned.
Pre-owned.
I doubt they have anything for new, but
$60 new.
so if you somehow find a new copy of it with them, it will still be the whole full price.
Hot diggity damn, man. That's whew,
Yeah.
The game is old.
Yeah.
Like that game is old.
It's worse with like some of the physical ones that had like rare releases.
Yeah.
Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton was a good example of that. When I bought it, the GameStop I bought it at only had 2 of them sent to them.
Shit.
And then I regret having traded it in because I traded it in because I was like, I'm not playing this. But now I'm like, fuck, I should have kept that thing because now it's like kind of worth something.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Speaking of new cool shit, Elden Ring got an update.
Yes.
This isn't technically DLC, which I expect is being announced in the next
Very
45
soon,
minutes
yeah.
while we're recording. I mean, come on, Elden Ring at Game Awards, almost certainly. But yeah, they opened the Colosseums. So for anybody who doesn't know, there were 3 big Colosseums in Elden Ring. They were closed and locked, and there was no doors. There was a spirit outside of one of them that was just like, I want to go in, I want to go in. But then people data mined them and found out that there was like a whole Colosseum. There was a Colosseum.
You could walk in it and everything.
Yeah, there was like stuff in there. Like it wasn't totally done, but the geometry was there. And so there were 3 of them. There was one in Libgrave, there was one in Caelid, there was one in the capital. And this week they put out a free update where they opened them, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I saw some video on Twitter of just insanity, just crazy amounts of shit going on the screen. I was like, this is a bit too much for me.
So there's 3 Colosseums, and each one of them has a different type of combat. So the one in Leyendell, the capital, is the dual Colosseum. So it's just 1v1 duels.
Oh, okay.
The one in Limgrave has Combat Ordeal, which is just last man standing, full on deathmatch.
Oh, okay.
But that one also has one called United Combat, where it's 2v2.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then the one in Caelid lets you summon the ghost ashes. So it's like you and an ash summon versus another person with an ash summon, which you can actually see in the video.
Yeah.
There's a point where they're like summoning people. Apparently there's like, I think in the Caelid one, there's a thing where you can do like 3v3 with summons.
Oh,
so
that might have been a video of what I saw.
Yeah, so that might have been.
I saw a thing that was just like, there are so many fucking things attacking each other on the screen.
I mean, I do not PvP in Elden Ring, but it's kind of nuts, and it's really been interesting to see. I mean, you remember Elden Ring came out this year, February.
It was a February release, and it's amazing how much love this game has been was gotten from the fans, for one.
Oh yeah,
like no one expected it to sell as well. I didn't expect it to sell that well.
They didn't expect it to sell as well.
And so the fact that like these things are coming out now is really good, because the holiday sales and stuff are very much in full swing, and this is a good way of like convincing even more people to maybe buy this game.
Yep. They really dedicated themselves. They said early on that they were going to keep updating Elden Ring more than they did the previous games, and they have. One of the biggest things, I mean, the last thing that we talked about was the splitting of the damage mechanics from PvE and PvP,
which is a great idea.
Which means that that you can go in and twizzle around all of the different damage stuff for these Colosseum battles. The only thing that I don't like, Michael, the only thing that I want are these Colosseums have a lot of room. There is not a spectate button.
No.
I want to go spectate these matches live, like I used to do
really
in Smash.
Cool. Yeah.
Have people clap and emote and cheer in the stands and stuff like that. Who knows? Maybe we'll get that eventually. But yeah. Also, this was the big news, but there was a brief other thing that I didn't know until I started looking around, Michael. They put in 5 new hairstyles.
Really?
Yeah. They added 27 through 32 are new hairstyles that were added with this patch.
Oh.
So some braids. This one was kind of got a Dante kind of look to it.
I can see that.
And some pigtails, a little Harley Quinn action.
So it's because it's got that part of the front hair.
Yeah.
There's a bangs. Is that what they call
yes.
it? Yeah.
Yes.
It's very much the Harley Quinn look.
So yeah, that was part of that free update that happened as well. Also, there was a bunch of balance and shit that nobody needs to know about. But
yeah, but if you want to know that stuff, just look it up.
Look at the patch notes.
People have a lot of that stuff on their Reddits and stuff.
Yep. Let's see. From there, speaking of big new updates, we got the I don't know. I'm always kind of 50-50 about whether to talk about Fortnite on RageSelect, because we don't really play Fortnite.
Not really.
But this new chapter, the Chapter 4 update, was real big. It had something different, something more than just this one's about the space chickens are coming and you've got to fight all the space chickens, because they added they basically updated Fortnite with the Unreal 5 engine, and they added in Lumen and Nanite. Lumen being the ray tracing engine that's coming in Unreal Engine 5, and Nanite is that thing where it decompresses the textures as you move away from them. So it's it streams the textures. So basically, if you're far away, it shows you the same geometry, but it automatically lowers the poly count in it. But then if you keep moving towards it, it'll then stream in more detail into it. So what it means is you can have an incredibly detailed texture, but that it doesn't have to load that entire texture into memory in order to show it, which means that the graphics are a lot more reasonable. The requirements are a lot more reasonable. So this is a video of Unreal Engine 5.1 with ray tracing, Nanite, Lumen, 4K, max settings running at between 30 and 60 frames per second on an RTX 3060 with no DLSS turned on. So just natively. And you can see, I don't know if it's obvious to you, but you can kind of see the difference where one of the big things with Fortnite, right, was that it was made to have a very flat lighting engine so that it could run on just about anything. But you can see that the Lumen especially has added in a lot of detailed shadows, detailed you can see it a lot when you look at the trees, and you can see sun behind trees coming through.
Like you said before, it was a very flat thing. It was like a cartoon kind of thing where there was everything. It was the reason everyone used to joke about it being just a cartoon game, because it was it was just everything was the same kind of brightness. Nothing was like shadowy, and if it was like baked into it.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Where this is like, yeah, there's these actual lighting effects are going on.
like reflections.
The water is a really good thing to look at for the main differences for that, and the trees, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
and it looks really good.
Yeah,
a lot better than because we looked at Fortnite not that long ago. I looked at Fortnite that long ago
because there was Dragon Balls in it.
Because they added Goku in it, and I had to look at it. And then so yeah, they put a lot of work into this whole idea, and it's one of the reasons why this trailer is more about showing off the areas.
Yeah.
Than the trailers before that, where it was like this whole ancient being type thing. This one has a lot more of like, hey, this is the actual gameplay, and this is what it looks like now.
Do you know who else they added to Fortnite?
I did, because I was laughing because the Doom subreddit was treating it like it was the end of the world.
Oh, I wasn't talking about Doom Guy.
Oh, you're talking about which one?
I wasn't talking about Doom Guy, and I wasn't talking about Geralt. I was talking about.
You're talking about Hulk?
Nope.
Well, who else did they add then?
Oh, I
know they added Hulk to it.
Well, I don't know if this is. Oh my god.
Oh, the Midoriya one.
Yeah,
I completely forgot about that.
They had a Deku,
and he's got a Smash thing, so that's definitely going to be like the what they had that Kamehameha thing.
Yeah.
So I bet you it's going to be like that.
Yep. Boy, howdy! So. I installed it again. But the thing that's interesting.
Midoriya and he got giddy.
I did. Well, it's like with you with the Dragon Ball, where I'm thinking about just going in and buying it just in case I ever decide to play it.
It's kind of what I've been doing. I bought Ash the same way.
So yeah, look at those trees like on this video from the story. But the thing that's interesting about this is that all of the Unreal Engine 5.1 stuff, this is the running on a PC, right?
Yeah.
But these effects are turned on the console as well, because Unreal Engine 5.1 is supposed to, or Unreal Engine 5 is supposed to be for the console. So one of the things I think that you and I probably know quite a bit of dealing with the quote unquote current gen systems, right, is that we're still living in this weird age where some games have ray tracing and some games don't have ray tracing, and some games have ray tracing and they run it only at 30 frames. Some have a medium mode that runs at almost 60. Some have 60 4K. This engine has been developed in a way where it should be able, people developing on Unreal Engine 5 should be able to put out games that run at 4K with ray tracing on 60 frames per second 4K ray tracing on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X with this engine. And I'm like, I would love it if we could just get that, because we're getting ready. I'm just getting ready to record Need for Speed Unleashed or whatever it is, the new one that
I don't
came
know what
out.
it's called. I just know they're making more of them.
and I had to look up today, okay, the Callisto Protocol came out, right?
Yeah.
And I was trying to decide, where do I buy it? Because I've got a 3060 that sometimes works well and sometimes doesn't. I've got a PlayStation 5. I've got a Series X. And I was like, okay, well, where should I buy this thing? And I kept looking around, and I was like, well, how do you get, which one of these has ray tracing? And it was none of them. The Callisto Protocol does not have ray tracing. It just has a regular lighting engine.
Which is strange, to be honest, but I don't know how strange, considering I don't know how long the game's been in development.
So it's so weird. I want us to get to a point where the Unreal Engine, the thing that 90% of game developers used, is on this, so that the games that we make are able to run well and look good. And I can feel I don't know, it doesn't have to be a thing where it's like a dice roll,
Well, the main thing I've said this a bunch of, or I've said this and a lot of people say this, is that as soon as they fully give up on the last generation of consoles, will they truly be able to really start hammering down on that? Because right now, I think it's a compromise that ends up making it work better on a PS4, and an Xbox One, whether it be the Pro or the X version, because that always holds back a lot of games because they want to maximize their sales.
Yeah.
As soon as they finally are like, well, we need to make the PS5 be the system that is the next gen, because right now it's just a somewhat at the moment a fancier version of the previous consoles.
Right. And I mean, I don't know if you get games that, the Demon Souls remake looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. But not every game is like that. So Spider-Man looked absolutely fantastic on PS5.
And they had they used to have the two options,
Yep.
and then they updated it to where it doesn't.
Yep. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we still have more news. There's still more news left to go. Feels like I can get over this burning anger about Panda Express. Maybe we can actually talk about video game news. We'll see you in a minute. All right, and we have some news left. We have some news left.
Yes, things are still happening.
We'll see how a lot of this might go pretty quick. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Anyway, before we left, we were talking about the Callisto Protocol. Apparently, the Callisto Protocol, it was a good thing that I didn't buy it on the PC because it ran like complete ass.
It was pretty insane.
And part of this, apparently, the CEO of Striking Distance Studios, Glenn Schofield, came out and said that part of this was because they were rushing to publish the game, and somebody literally like renamed the wrong file, and so it was literally broken, and that was what was causing all of those like weird stuttery shader things.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, apparently they fixed it. So that got fixed. Also, on a side note, I don't think that that's a very good game.
That's the thing. I keep seeing people talk about it, and not no one, but most people are pretty negative about it.
Yeah, I was really excited for it. I think it looks really good. Like, I think it's very
gorgeous,
good looking, but it's kind of boring to play.
Yeah, and a lot of people, the combat system is a pain in the ass, especially with their groups. Apparently, I haven't played it.
Yeah, but
the main thing I've heard is that the second there's like more than one or two people, you're just kind of fucked.
Yeah, part of it is the fact that the only healing item that I've seen so far in the game, outside of the ones that randomly drop, like there's a healing like syringe you can get, but you have to like stop, and then like there's a whole animation to put it in your stick it in your neck to use it, so you can't do it on the fly, which really kind of fucks up, because the thing is that if there was like a larger group, you would have a kind of a Resident Evil style thing where there's a big group and you're shooting them and you're like, okay, I'm going to use a healing item to be able to get through this because I don't want to have to reload and do it again. Whereas here it's like you just have to either do it or not do it. And I don't know. I was playing the game and I was like, I got a second gun and one gun for a long time, and I got a second gun, and I was like, how much more of this game is there? And I was like, oh, this is the middle chapter to the game where I got a second gun.
It's weird. It's a strange fucking thing going on with this game.
Yeah,
but I've seen some cool like uses of the combat that could look fun, but it's a lot of just like random shit to make it really work.
The problem is that I feel like it's a lot like it's a lot like a Souls game where, like, if you get good at the way that the combat is set up, you don't ever have to get hit.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a Resident Evil game where you're going to get hit. Like, there's just,
No, that game's pretty much not impossible, but it's very difficult to not get hit.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Especially, anything before 4 and 4 itself, I guess.
Yeah. If you're thinking about it, then, I don't know, maybe go watch some videos and see what you think.
Do you like Josh Duhamel? How much do you like Josh Duhamel?
I didn't even realize that's who that was until Chris looked it up.
The second I saw his face, because I watched the video, I'm like, hey, it's Josh Duhamel. And you had to sit there for 10 minutes while you guys tried to figure out who Josh Duhamel was. I was like, Transformers.
Well, also, it's worth pointing out that the version of him on the cover of the game looks nothing like Josh Duhamel.
Here's the thing. I've seen so many trailers for this game, never realized it was Josh Duhamel. Never once realized it until I saw him with hair, and I'm like, oh, it's Josh Duhamel.
Like, I saw the lady from The Boys. I was like, oh, I know exactly who that is, but this guy.
I had no idea it was him until I watched the fucking video for RageSelect.
Yeah. Let's see. In other update news, apparently Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red has come out and said definitively, specifically, that multiplayer thing that we talked about, no, sir. That's not happening. In fact, you know what, Michael? I'd like to call the next 1, 2, 3, 4 stories CD Projekt Red narrows its scope.
Oh, jeez.
Because there's a lot here about CD Projekt Red being like, we may have bit off more than we could actually chew.
Well, yeah, there's the thing. They got too ambitious with their ideas.
Yes.
And this one I'm saddened by because there was a lot of people who were like, just wait until multiplayer.
Right.
Then we can, like, do this together. Nope.
Well, they're all like the whole thing with CD Projekt Red is they signaled this a little while back when we talked about how they're just like, after the expansion comes out, that's going to be the last update for the game, the end, right? And they never on their roadmap or anywhere talked about when the multiplayer. Like they just kind of when it released and it was broken, they just started ignoring multiplayer basically. Like
it was easy to ignore it because everyone was like, fix the game,
right?
I'm like, okay, well, we're going to do that, and they just never even looked at it.
For me, I guess part of it too comes with this like saltiness about when they're just like, okay, that's enough fixing. We're gonna move on to other games now, and I'm like, wait.
When they're like, hey, we're making a sequel, by the way. I'm like,
hold on.
Like, why would you announce a sequel to the game that doesn't work?
Yeah. So yeah, the quote is like in this interview with Eurogamer, they said. Fixing Cyberpunk after launch meant that other R&D projects had to go away. With Cyberpunk, we wanted to do many things at the same time. We just needed to really focus and say, okay, what's the important part? Yeah, we'll make that part really good. So, yep. So if you're still holding out hope, sorry.
No multiplayer, but here's another Keanu Reeves skin.
Yes. From there, let's talk about The Witcher. Because we found out this week that the Witcher 3 Next Gen update is going to break most of the mods that exist for The Witcher 3.
That sounds about right.
Part of this is because they're adding some new content in, and so it changed the scripting files. So previous mods that refer to like current things, we are going to end up referring to things that don't actually exist.
Yeah.
The upside of this is that here's another quote. They're including several popular mods in the update. They'll be available depending on the platform. We obtained permissions from their creators, reimbursed them, and they'll be featured in the credits of the updated game. The mods are reworked and assets optimized as needed, and the game adjusted to run with them. There's even a case wherein a dev got so engrossed in tinkering when including a mod that he ended up simply remaking that particular aspect of the game. So in a way, the game comes with some mods already included.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Because there's some people have gotten super fucking creative with mods where they've made entire new storylines and missions and stuff that are just as engrossing as the main games are.
Yes. So, yeah, there's a whole list right now of which mods work and which ones don't, but as of that update, I think the one thing I saw some people in the comments talking about, because the thing is that the updated version is going to be replacing it's not like a separate SKU. It's like replacing the current version. So, but somebody in the comments mentioned this, and I'm just putting it out there. I haven't tested it or anything, that GOG specifically will let you choose to install previous versions of a game.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense because if they weren't, there were going to be ways of doing it anyways, probably, that you could find.
Yeah, you could always, there are other, some illicit, some not so illicit. I guess you could always install it on Steam now and then just like turn off auto updating and make sure you never uninstall it, like PT style.
Yeah, that's your main thing. If you want your nude mods to work, guys, you gotta work for it. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yep. So, yep. From there, Gwent. Gwent is ending its development cycle in 2023, but strangely, CD Projekt Red has decided that once the final update comes out, they're going to release tools to let the community continue to do updates on Gwent with whatever the fuck they feel like.
That's both awesome and a terrible decision at the same time.
Well, yes, I agree.
Because they're going to break that fucking system so fast.
Yes, I agree. But it's kind of an interesting thing when a company wants to say, hey, we're done with this. Cyberpunk, right? They put out a big new modding tool for it, like in the last update. And it's like, well, part of my saltiness with Cyberpunk is sort of tempered in that I feel like Cyberpunk is going to become the new Fallout New Vegas, where like CD Projekt Red ends all support for it, and the people are going to spend years modding the shit out of that game.
100%.
Until they're just like, oh no, you got to play it with these 8 mods, and it's like 10 times better than it ever was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But
that's the interesting thing about fans of anything, is they're willing to just go forever.
Yep.
And it could be, it could be like those mods that could be doing that, or they're writing their fan fictions that have become really, really popular.
True.
That end up taking over for a bit because there's nothing new for a while.
Yep.
And it's happened to a lot of really famous things.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'll be an interesting experiment. If it pays off, we might be able to see more games that instead of just putting out their final update and shutting down, they're just like, this is the last official update. Here are a bunch of tools. We don't give a shit. Put dicks on whoever you want to.
Go nuts, guys.
If you want to put dicks on all the cars, put dicks on all the cars. It's not our choice anymore.
Exactly.
So.
Make the ultimate dick as the final battle.
Yep.
Or whatever in Gwent. I don't know how Gwent works.
So yeah, that's another one. And then finally, The Witcher's Pokemon Go game is coming to an end.
I forgot that was a thing.
Yep. Witcher Monster Slayer, which was an AR game that came out last year, is ending on June 30th of next year. So
there were quite a few things like that came out once Pokemon Go became very popular.
Yep.
And some that were kind of similar early on, but yeah, that became a very popular genre.
I don't think I've ever heard of a single player actually a single person actually playing this game.
This one, that's the reason I forgot about this one. The Harry Potter one, I heard people playing because it was a Harry Potter one.
Was there like a Marvel one or like a superhero one?
I think so, but I don't know if it ever happened or not.
Yeah.
But there was a Ghostbusters one at one point.
Okay.
That one I remember because there were 2 of them. Because there was one that I used to play and then they shut that one down. And I heard there was a second one, but I don't think it ever got that far.
Okay. So taking all 4 of these stories together, Michael, I think this is a good thing that CD Projekt Red is like cutting off some of the chaff and being like, we're just gonna work on that next Witcher game. Like we're just gonna do that, Yeah,
because they weren't exactly the biggest studio to begin with. Like they were kind of. Not small per se, but they were like medium sized. I always felt compared to a lot of other big AAA guys.
Yeah, they seem to balloon up like in the year before Cyberpunk came out, where it was just like, why are you guys?
Yeah, because once Witcher 3 was a hit, they're like, we can do anything.
What the fuck is Thronebreaker?
Yeah,
what is this?
It was a bad idea. They got too big too fast, and they got way too ambitious for their next project.
Yeah. So hopefully this will result in a more focused, better game experience. Speaking of games that are going away, Fuser is going away. Remember the DJ game from Harmonix that they made?
Is that what it was called? I forgot the name of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're shutting down the live service and ceasing all sales. By the time you hear this, on December 19th, you'll have
this was the non-DJ Hero version, right?
Yes. This is the one where you're just using kind of like an interface to like mix the different tracks together. Like you do. Here's the guitar track from this one song, and then the soundtrack, and then here's the vocals.
I remember which one this is.
So you'll have about a week to buy it if you want, and then also all the DLC is get shut down. I never bought any of the DLC. I didn't think it was quite as fun as some of those other games were.
What's the reason it didn't? They're shutting it down to begin with,
right?
Because it wasn't exactly the most popular of their things.
Oh,
but it lasted a while there, didn't it?
The what, this is from Kotaku article, the Steam stats as the publication, the game had 19 people playing it in the last day and only a little more than a dozen average players in the last 6 months. So
I'm not surprised by any of this then.
Yeah. I kind of feel like Harmonix either needs to like bring back the plastic instrument genre. They need to try to relaunch. They need to take their shot. Like no Rock Band VRs, no Fusers, no Rock Band World Tours. Just like bring back the plastic instruments, or you guys need to start making other games. Because
the problem is those instruments, once they were done, they took up a lot of space real fast.
Mm-hmm. I think I still have mine somewhere in here.
Yeah, I remember you telling me you did at some point, and they just became real pawn shop heavy. The pawn shops couldn't get rid of these fucking things, guys. Just so many of them.
Yep. Somewhere I got drunk and I bought Guitar Hero 1 and 2 with the controllers.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Because I think you were telling me about it at one point.
I even have a PlayStation 2 somewhere in this house that can run it. But
Guitar Hero was such a huge fucking deal.
Yep.
And then Rock Band was made because they Guitar Hero don't want to make a band thing, so a bunch of the developers left to make that.
Yep.
And then Rock Band became huge, and then Guitar Hero decided to do that.
Yep.
And then they're like, what if people love DJing? And then DJ Hero, I think, was the beginning of the end.
Are you about to talk shit about DJ Hero at my house? DJ Hero rules. DJ Hero rules all.
You remember Guitar? I think it was the Guitar Hero DS.
Yes, I do.
It had a peripheral.
Yes, I do.
That you had to click into it if you wanted to do it that way. And that shit was redonkulous.
I don't even remember if the Rock Band VR ever came out.
Not that I know of. And then Guitar Hero became an arcade game.
Yep.
And I was like, no one's going to want to play this. And then it turns out a lot of people still do to this day because there's one at the pinballs.
Yep, very true. Yep. I don't know. I miss them. That was like a lot of my mid-20s was getting people together, getting shit-faced drunk and playing rhythm games. So.
Dude, yeah, it was a lot of my friends' jams. I hated it.
Yeah.
Because I sucked at it. Because I have no like really good like rhythm per se.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really bad at it. But I'm also a terrible singer. So I had very little to do in it, but my friends would make me sing every time. And because I was the only person who, if we did Don't Fear the Reaper, who would go full Will Ferrell cowbell because I didn't give a fuck compared to them. I would do the entire like full hip motion, and they just loved it because they were like, no one else wants to do that except for you, so you're gonna do it.
I remember at one point I got the Beatles Rock Band. I really loved the Beatles Rock Band.
My cousin had that one too, actually,
and that was fun because I could play the guitar on it, and it was like one of the few games where like the Beatles songs are so blasted into my head that I could sing and play the guitar at the same time because I didn't have to think about the singing.
Because
you just know
they're part of your brain,
right?
Kind of thing.
Also, those games. If you guys haven't, it's been several years since I've said this out loud. Go watch the opening and closing animations for Beatles Rock Band.
They're great.
I believe they were made by the guy that did like the Gorillaz animations or something like that, but they're just fucking amazing. Like they're so good.
Also, my favorite fun fact about one of the rock bands was that Poker Face was not a track in Rock Band until South Park did that episode. and Lady Gaga's version wasn't even the first one they put on Rock Band. It was the Cartman version. So Cartman's version of that song predated Lady Gaga's actual version on that
funny.
Game.
They gave it a lot of weird shit. Like they'd Still Alive from Portal.
They did.
Like as one of the songs on
when they did the Lego one, they added Ghostbusters and all these like other ones. I was like, this series is fucking crazy. There was Rocksmith happened.
Like, God help you if you go into the. I don't think it's even available, but back in the day, if you went to the Rock Band add-on DLC store, and it was just like, oh my god,
it was massive.
It was like 4 tracks a week. Like for years.
It was fucking. It went on for a long time.
Yep. Anywho, speaking of super nostalgic bullshit, Team Fortress 2 is getting an interesting update. Oops, that's not where I was going. Team Fortress 2 is getting a pretty interesting update.
Is it the one where the spy fucks that guy's mom?
The Scout's mom? No.
Yes.
That would
your
be
mother.
Your mother. God, I love that one.
Such a good fucking game.
No, this is kind of just a brief thing. This isn't actually fixing the game or anything, but what they've done is they've added VScript support to the game.
What does that mean?
So it turns out that apparently the quote-unquote like modding tools for Team Fortress 2 are really clumsy. They're like these really baked-in like macros, and you have to like, if you want to create like an if-then statement, it's like you have to like join together a bunch of these dumb macros and then like connect them using their kind of object-oriented thing. Wow. Whereas VScript is just like you just write, if time less than 30, then execute. You can just like type a thing. So
it doesn't have to be like a series of steps.
Right.
It's just one thing.
And it's apparently something that the community really wants because a lot of the craziness that has come from like the different updates, like the holiday updates and stuff, is all in the game. So it could be used. Like I actually saw a kind of like a little some examples of stuff. Like one of them was someone using this to do a pretty popular thing apparently called dodgeball, where just like everybody is pyros, and then it like launches a missile, and then you just use the puff from the pyro gun to like puff the missile back and forth at each other until somebody gets hit with it, and then they explode. And like
I love shit like that.
So yeah, there's a lot of shit going on. I'm not interested in really playing Team Fortress 2, but you know.
Yeah, it's been a very, very old game. I remember when there was like videos for its like announcement when I was really young.
So yeah, that's the old version basically. Was that whole mess of macro nonsense.
I think it's massive.
This is the old version, and like now you could just like write script for it.
That's pretty cool.
So
people are going to make some really interesting things.
Yep. I agree. Let's see. Bad news for Yuji Naka, the creator of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Arrested for insider trading a little while back because of some people at Square had told him about the company that was making the Dragon Quest mobile game. They bought shares in that company. That's insider trading, baby.
Yep. People saw a large semi-truck chasing him down the street.
Yep. He was arrested. He's been arrested again because apparently
he got arrested twice.
Yes, he got arrested twice, and this time he got arrested because I don't know what happened. He was let out on bail, etc., etc. But he got arrested this time because the exact same thing happened.
Are you serious?
He bought a bunch of stock in the company that made that Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier battle royale game that they put out, and then when that was announced, their stock went up hugely. He sold a bunch of the stock off. He made a few $1 million, and so yes, he was arrested a second time.
Oh my god!
For the same thing.
What a dumb motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that he was arrested alongside of like several other people internally to Square. So,
yeah, but his name is very famous, and or at least among certain crowds. So I mean, the guy made that much funnier.
The guy made Balan Wonderworld. Like, he's got to be pretty broke at this point, right?
That's true. He got desperate. That's the issue, guys. When people get desperate, they go to crime.
So,
there should be a Sonic the Hedgehog PSA.
Yes,
specifically with him and Sonic being like, "Don't do illegal trading, kids.
Yeah, just eat chili dogs. It'll be
just
cool.
like me."
Oh my
Sonic the Hedgehog.
I have to close the RageSelect Discord because the Game Awards have started and they're already saying they're reacting. They're reacting in there, Michael.
Oh my god! I just. Why hasn't somebody done this yet? Why is there not a Sonic the Hedgehog PSA like video where he's doing the things from that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode where they had Donovan McNabb, and I'm using quotey fingers.
Oh,
and you're like, that's not Donovan McNabb, but I'd love for there to be a Sonic version of that where it's like a fat Sonic, where he's just
or
like
the ugly Sonic from the movie.
Yeah, it'd be ugly Sonic, and he's like, you know, everyone when they defeat Eggman, they get their breakfast from McDonald's.
Yep,
I'm loving it. And where's my check? I want to see that like right now.
In other crime news, we have a pair of very bizarre video game crimes, Michael.
Really?
Yes. One is there is one of those one of those like handheld retro consoles that you can get.
The ones you get at like malls and shit?
No. The ones that you can order off Amazon, like that one that I bought, that little mini Game Boy, but they make like bigger ones, right?
Yeah.
You know, this is called the Evercade EXP, and they had the Evercade EXP. They had all their pre-orders that were done because it was like a Kickstarter, I believe, and they had them all loaded up. This was in Britain. It was on a lorry. It's a truck for all you people from not England. And apparently somebody rolled up and robbed that truck and took all of the Game Boys off of it.
What the fuck? What a weird thing to steal.
Yeah. It was in the early hours of December 6th. The limited edition stock was subject to a suspected targeted robbery. They fucking knocked over a truck like Goodfellas. And unfortunately, this was their holiday shipment that was supposed to get everybody by the holidays. If you ordered the regular version, no problem. These were all the like limited edition
ones.
collector's versions.
That means there's no other ones then at that point, right?
Well, so the good guy part of this is that the CEO put out a statement where he was like, as soon as this happened, we were just like, okay, fucking fire up the assembly line and start redoing them right now. Like, we're going to do this as fast as we can. So they're trying to like get replacements out as soon as possible. But a daring daylight robbery of a bunch of retro handheld, like these are things that'll run like Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1 games.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like...
They're also very specific.
Yeah.
So if these start going up on sale, then yeah, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah.
What was your plan here?
I don't know. Like...
Because at least when the Fast and the Furious people stole combo DVD, VCR, DVD
people
players...
need those. People need those
It's
systems.
easier to sell those.
Yeah.
Not so much very specific hardware.
Yes. So, yeah. It's a little weird.
Super weird.
It's a little strange.
That reminds me of when they were robbing places for Call of Duty, or they were robbing the trucks for Call of Duty copies.
Right.
That made a little more sense.
Yeah. It's just so weird that it's one of these. Like, if it was Switches or PS5s,
Switches, the PS5s, the Series X's, any
4080s. You know?
Very specific, like general consumer products.
Yeah.
Not super specific niche ass
retro
fucking things.
Android
like
handhelds.
What? You can't just offload those, dude. They must have wanted it for the parts. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. And even then, I don't know.
I guess resale, like, it depends on if they can find a shady enough place to resell them.
That's what I'm saying. It's such a niche thing that it would be a little easier to catch that, I think.
Let's see. Oh, no, there's none of those. I don't know why that's there. Blaze Entertainment Evercade EXP handheld. Is this that thing?
It's the Best Buy site.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, so these are the normal ones. Yeah.
At Best Buy.
So strange. So very strange.
Yep. Man, I hate to talk about it, but there was also that Simpsons arcade thing that was like a $600 thing on sale for $250 today on Best Buy's website.
Yeah, because it's the 4-player controller thing.
Yeah,
so that's
Simpsons arcade game.
Kind of a big deal considering.
Anyway, in other crimes, this one was interesting. This one's caught on camera. A lady was going through customs going into China, and it was like a pregnant lady, and they were like, hey, that lady doesn't look very pregnant. And they found out that she was wearing a fake belly that was stuffed with like 200 CPUs that she was trying to smuggle into China.
Why?
That I don't know. It had 200 CPUs and 9 iPhones. Maybe you could sell them easier there. Maybe they stole them somewhere.
That would make some sense because they're probably like more unlocked for some of these.
Yeah,
especially the iPhones. I don't know about the CPUs though. That's interesting. Maybe there's like a shortage or something. I don't know. But that's kind of insane.
The big thing is, as you can kind of see it very briefly, is apparently like the guys in customs, like she was just going to go like walk through customs. It wasn't clear whether there was like a metal detector or anything that was going to go off. But as she's walking through customs, apparently the customs agents looked at her and they were like, she wasn't like walking like a pregnant lady.
Yeah, she wasn't having like issues kind of thing with her.
Yeah, with a big belly. She was just kind of like boop doop 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 doop. Like
that's one of the reasons why when they make pregnant prostheses for actors, actresses and stuff, they add weight to it.
Right.
So you can get that sort of thing because if they're too lightweight and they're going around like fucking Eddie Murphy and the Nutty Professor, like super gung ho, then it's kind of obvious.
Yeah. So yeah. I was trying to decide whether to make an Arrested Development joke or a Cowboy Bebop joke, and now I've explained both, and I'm not going to make either. So.
You could have also done a Total Recall one.
Oh, yeah. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
If there had been video from Chinese customs of somebody pulling their head off and throwing it at a bomb going off, I would have been like, damn, man, we're really stepping up this thing. Robbing trucks, blowing up airports. Like, fuck, dude.
It's going insane, guys.
Yeah. Speaking of insane guys, the director of Days Gone is kind of a crazy person.
He's at it again, guys. That creative director who's just a fucking crazy person.
Yep.
I saw this one as it happened, by the way.
This was
I shared it to our Discord the second I saw it. I was like, you dumb motherfucker.
This was so stupid. What was this guy's name again?
Douche Nozzle McDouche. I don't remember his name.
This guy, John Garvin. So apparently, like, somebody on Twitter asked him if, like, oh, you know, why didn't the game do better? And his list of reasons were as follows: 3 reasons. 1, it had tech issues like bugs, streaming, and frame rate. 2, it had reviewers who couldn't be bothered to actually play the game. And 3, it had woke reviewers who couldn't handle a gruff white biker looking at his date's ass.
Yeah, so the actual question that he responded to was, why wasn't this a critical darling? The game's really fun. Like, I don't understand why. Basically, the guy was like, I don't understand why this game wasn't a bigger deal critically and everything. And that was the guy's fucking response.
So I'd like to address these briefly as somebody who did play Days
Let's
Gone.
go through them one by one.
1, it had tech issues like bugs, streaming, and frame rate. The most beloved games do not have these issues.
For the most part.
They are smooth and silky to play. They look good. They're easy to engage with. You don't have to deal with falling through the world, restarting, or, like, you know, having a bad frame rate, right?
Yeah,
like,
my favorite one was when things would pop up as you were driving.
Yes.
So you would just slam into them.
Yes. Number 2, it had reviewers who couldn't be bothered to actually play the game. I did play that game. It was a chore to play.
Yeah.
It was not very fun. It had a motorcycle that kept running out of gas in the middle of nowhere. It had really boring, like, settlements that you would go into and scrabble around for fucking ammo and shit. And then it had a bunch of kind of, I mean, like, I don't know. I only played it for like 2 or 3 hours, but here's my thing. I didn't continue to play it, and I'm allowed to stop playing games when they're not fun. I think that if you forced me to continue playing that game, I would have had an even lower opinion of it by the time I was done, because I would have been like, fucking game over here wasting my fucking time. Oh, geez, a biker game with zombies in it? Look out, everybody. We've got a fucking genius over here.
Stop the presses, guys.
Yeah.
Stop the presses.
And number 3... I don't remember. I'm sure there was probably one review that stuck in this guy's craw where it talked about the scene where the main character is looking at the girls. I watched the scene. It's stupid. It's stupid.
Well, the thing is, like, him being mad about that, and I saw some people make jokes about it, where they're like, oh, because somebody pointed out, because the fact that he mentions that he's a white character, for one.
Right.
Somebody pointed out, hey, these are all these other games that people really loved. And one of them, you know, was Nathan Drake, Master Chief, all these things that were like, these are clearly just white dudes.
Yeah.
And somebody was just like, well, none of those characters would look at the character's ass. I'm like, are you saying Nathan Drake, of all people, would not look at everyone's ass in a person's room?
Stare at some butts.
Like, that's all he fucking does. Hell, like, a lot of the first sequence of Uncharted 1 is him being like, yeah, I want to fuck the shit out of Chloe.
Yep. I'm going to do a lot of dumb shit to try to get in this reporter's pants.
Yeah, like, with Elena. Like, it's like, come on, guys. Like, that wasn't the weirdest thing in here.
Also, like, can you tell me anything about the protagonist of this game, Deacon? Can you tell me his last name?
I don't know his last name. I know the actor's name.
Okay.
Because Sam Witwer has been in a lot of things that we like. One of them is he's the Star Killer from Force Unleashed.
Yep.
I knew him as Doomsday in Smallville because he played Doomsday in that.
Great.
He does a lot of voices for Star Wars now.
Okay.
He voices Darth Maul in Star Wars. He voices the Emperor in Star Wars cartoons. And he also was recently in the Callisto Protocol.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he plays the crazy, like, guard guy who arrests you in the beginning.
Oh, that's why he's okay.
It's harder to tell because, like, he has a lot more scars and stuff in that game. But that's him.
Anyway, anybody that gave this game a low score because of this scene with the, like, guy looking at the lady's ass for 1 second, like, it's not a game about looking at asses.
No.
It's not fucking Killer 7, all right? It's not like there's a whole mechanic about looking up, looking at butts, like Butt Chaser.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, that's not what would have given it a bad review. Like, it would, if it was getting a bad review for, like, asses, that means it would have been, like, integral to the plot.
Right.
That you had to stare at her ass.
Right.
To continue the game.
Yes.
It's not Akiba's Beat or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Akiba's Trip.
Akiba's Trip.
Yeah.
I think it's the name of it, yeah.
Akiba's Beat was the sequel. Was the thing that I thought was a sequel, but was not a sequel. Or didn't have as much punching people's clothes off to expose their vampire skin to the light.
Either way, like, that's not the reason this game did that.
She's not even wearing, like, hot pants in that scene. She's wearing just fucking mom jeans.
She's wearing mom jeans.
You know, and she's got a big mom ass. And she bends over, and the guy's like, yeah. And then I watched the rest of it. Then they just continue on their way, and they kind of flirt and talk about, like the world. Like
there are dialogue choices in that game that are choices.
So yeah, I don't think that your fucking biker zombie game had anything to do with
God of War has a sex mini game in it.
the woke reviewers.
1 through 3, and people love those things.
I too am sometimes irritated by people's hot takes about certain types of things, but that was not the reason that your game didn't work. Because I got news for you, the gaming public would not have avoided your game because gamers as a whole are too woke to play your game about the smutty biker who looks at his girlfriend's ass. That's not going to keep people from buying your game.
No,
okay.
Here's the thing: when this game came out, one of the most popular characters on television was Norman Reedus on Walking Dead, whose brother was highly racist, and people love that guy too. It doesn't take a lot for people to just buy things. Your game was bad.
It was a bad game. It
or
was
mid, or whatever the fuck you kids are calling it nowadays.
It was
at best.
Yeah, no, that's actually a better way to put it. It was super duper fucking mid. Like it was just like the thing is that, and I can see people who go to and they play this game and they're just like, why didn't anybody talk about this? This is pretty good. And it's like, because good isn't good enough anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this is not acceptable. We want exceptional games by very talented people that, I'm sorry, the game where you shoot zombies and drive around a motorcycle in a post-apocalyptic America is not exactly fucking blowing my tits back. Like, it's just regular. And if that's what you want to do, great.
Yeah.
I've done that hundreds of times, and I'm tired of it at this point. I need a fucking cowboy with a mechanical gauntlet, or like, you know, a 500-year-old dad and his boy fucking killing the gods, or you know, like, I don't know, take your pick. I'm playing a game where Captain Marvel and Blade are getting their flirt on, and I'm like, hey, this is great. Yeah, I love this shit. Here's Spider-Man. I've seen him a bunch of times before, but I've never played a card that said web up a guy, and then he did it, and it was cool. So,
like, Mad Max came out around the same time, and
same thing.
I love that game. And Days Gone just did not do anything for me.
What was 2019 in gaming? Okay, it came out April 2019 for PlayStation 4. Let's see what what was the landscape like in 2019. Really, usually I get a better result. Let's see, 2019.
We'll just click one of those, the 30 best things. That would be a good way of like really looking at it.
30 best video games of 2019. Yoshi's Crafted World, Gato Roboto, Creature in the Well, Hypnospace Outlaw was very good. Void Bastards was excellent. Modern Warfare 1, Link's Awakening, Untitled Goose Game, Katana Zero, Plague Tale, The First Judgment, Mortal Kombat 11, excellent. Pokemon Sword and Shield, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Observation, Luigi's Mansion, Slay the Spire, Life is Strange, Devil May Cry 5, Mario Maker 2,
Devil May Cry 5 is a perfect example of just like this dude would stare at everyone's fucking ass at every fucking possible moment, and no one said shit about that.
Yeah. They tried to make a big deal over the fact that like the PlayStation versions had those little like light shinies on people's crotches, and I think everybody was just like, I don't even give a shit. Like,
it doesn't matter. Like, it's just, you guys don't understand.
Outer Worlds, Jedi Fallen Order. The Thrillist.com, you put Cadence of Hyrule at number 6.
It is a good game.
I mean, it's good, yes, but Apex Legends came out, Death Stranding came out that year.
On a motorcycle.
Resident Evil 2 remake came out that year, and Control came out that year. Fucking Sekiro came out that year. Like, guy, you got lost in the shuffle of good-ass games that came out in that year.
So
and
this is just some random website that we found, by the way. Yeah, there's plenty of other games that came out around this time.
What I want to see is...
during that month?
Yeah, it came out in April. Let's see, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission.
Yeah, Super Dragon Ball Heroes, guys.
Earth Defense Force Iron Rain, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, World War Z.
Oh, that came out the actual time, yeah.
Came out at the same time. Ooh, boy. Cuphead, Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah.
That's probably what I was playing was Mortal Kombat 11. Yeah, man, look at that. World War Z snaked them by 10 days.
Oh, shit.
And like World War Z had a lot more zombies on screen. I think World War Z was probably more well.
And Rage 2 happened like right afterwards.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It was sandwiched between those two things.
Yep.
And
honestly,
and again, they had a lot of bugs and stuff like we mentioned earlier.
And Mortal Kombat 11, why the fuck would I play your dumbass game when I could be playing the fucking batshit insane? I had to beat Chronica and rewrite Mortal Kombat history, for God's sake.
Here's the thing, because those games that came out around the same time weren't exactly like super great to begin with that people talk about for a whole time.
Yeah.
They had a lot going for them, and they still failed.
Yep. They just didn't have a thing. They needed something better, something that made them stand out from the crowd. Let's see.
And they didn't stand out from the first party crowd either.
Oh, shit, but
That's
Left Alive came out in March of that year, Michael. Hypnospace Outlaw, that was amazing. It was Devil May Cry.
Definitely good, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a lot of good stuff in that year. I wasn't going to put Days Gone on my Game of the Year list in the year that Death Stranding came out.
No.
Death Stranding and Control.
Yeah, Death Stranding, Control, Devil May Cry 5.
Mortal Kombat 11? Fuck
Yeah.
you. Fuck you.
Mortal Kombat 11.
You got to do better if you want it, to be witnessed, if you want to be seen by a Morton Joe.
Yeah, you had a chance. You were in a time frame where not the best things were out, but you still fucking failed, and that says a lot about that game.
Very, very true. Okay. Well, we're just about to the trailer section, but before we get there, I did talk about some Game of the Year fuckery, and apparently there's a battle on the Player's Choice Award between
I've heard about this, yeah.
Sonic Frontiers and Genshin Impact, where the Sonic Frontiers people had managed to jack that stupid piece of shit up way in the rankings, but then Genshin Impact started creeping up, and they're like, Jeff Keighley, Genshin Impact is cheating. And it's like, children, you're both terrible.
Yeah, you're both just the worst.
You are crackheads, children. This is the Always Sunny podcast this week. But yeah, no, like literally, Jeff Keighley had to talk about it on the AMA, where they were like, oh, they must be botting. And it's like, no, people are just as irrationally into Genshin Impact as you guys are irrationally into this new Sonic game. Like, if Sonic Frontiers wins Game of the Year this year against any other game that's not like garbage.
Well, this is that poll that I was talking about with The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima that happened.
Yeah.
During that 2020 year.
Yeah.
This is just that. Like, these guys are just they want to be the guy who's on there. The only thing that I'll give them that I do understand is kind of annoying about it is that Genshin Impact didn't come out this year, as far as I remember. So it's like, why is it even on this list?
Because it's like I don't know.
But I think it's because it still comes out a lot of updates.
Yeah,
I think that's the main reason it's on there. But it still feels a little weird that it's on there to begin with.
Was it in like early access before?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's just one of those games that gets a ton of updates that just keeps going.
Oh yeah, this is a September 28th of 2020.
So
I realize it's 2 years ago.
It's really strange that it's even on there to begin with.
Yep.
So that's the one thing that I'm like, I kind of get why you would be annoyed by that.
Yep.
But again, I don't want either of you to win.
There was something though that happened where Genshin Impact won a thing, and they gave the players like 5 roles for free.
So they think that might be it, kind of thing?
And they're thinking that people might be trying to game the system in order to get free stuff if they win again.
They probably think they will get free stuff if they win.
Yeah,
based on what happened last time.
But
that's
by the
case.
Same token, you guys had Sonic Frontiers at 25% above Elden Ring. Like,
yeah, but Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok, and Stray
and Minecraft,
and Sifu,
just Minecraft,
and Minecraft's on there again.
Minecraft,
what the fuck? Okay,
yeah,
this list is stupid to begin with.
It's a stupid list. Also, you guys, it's like, no, we were the ones who wanted to game the system to get a shitty game at the top of the list, and it's like, guys,
this is stupid.
This is dumb. This is dumb.
It's one of the dumbest things I've seen in quite some time.
We haven't even started watching the Game Awards yet.
We haven't.
Come on.
I don't even. Yeah, it's the Game Awards going on right now.
Yep.
Yeah, it started
30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
They said that this year they're supposed to be about an hour shorter than they were last year. Because remember, last year they were like 3 fucking hours long.
I remember because we were chatting about it, and I was like, "Well, when the fuck is this thing gonna end?"
Yep.
And it was a bunch of like announcements that I want to give a fuck about too, which is the worst part.
Yep. Trailers. We got a trailer for the called "Who is the Dread Wolf" for Dragon Age. You don't Dragon Age, right?
No, I don't Dragon Age very often.
I don't really know that much about this. This is kind of cool. It's like a little motion comic. It's talking about the kind of the bad guy for the next Dragon Age game, who is technically one of your party members from Dragon Age 2, I believe,
Really?
or 2 or 3. Yeah, he's like this elf that turns out he was like a god that warred on the other gods, or like a dark wizard that warred on the other gods, and like he locked them all up, and then like he just went to go live his life, and he kind of came into your party, and now he's like going back to kill them or something, and
Well, that's interesting.
you have to try to stop him. So I don't know. I mean, it's like a nifty little motion comic. It doesn't exactly do like, it's not a whole lot. So
I do like the idea though that the bad guy is like somebody that some of the Dragon Age fandom has some care for, I assume.
yeah, I like the idea. I think it would have been cool if they would have done the if they would have made like one of the protagonists from the previous game into the bad guy.
Yeah, I don't think that works as well though, since it's the create a character thing.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Unless he's like deformed or something.
Let's see. We also got a 2-minute video just going over. I just really like the way the new like everything about this new Fire Emblem game, except for the way that the main character's hair looks. Not even the character, just the hair.
You're just jealous of their hair, Jeff. You're just jealous you don't have blue and red hair.
Just the hair. This is a Japanese.
You too could be a VTuber.
Japanese only trailer that came out for Corrin, who was the main character from the Fire Emblem. It was the one that had the light and dark versions.
Yeah, they're the dragon
like the
one,
samurai one. Yeah, that kind of shows a lot of their different types of attacks and the way they can change the terrain to be different, like have different effects and stuff. I don't know. I'm just really, really super impressed at how good this game looks, because so many of the recent Switch games I feel like have been getting a little muddy for my taste.
They've been a little on the lower end of looking good.
Yeah. So I like how this one looks very sharp. Like the backgrounds are kind of like meh, but that's not what I care about. I care about the character designs, and they look super good. So we got an announcement trailer, sort of, for Lost Soul Aside. Michael, do you remember Lost Soul Aside?
I do not.
Lost Soul Aside was that game that was being made by one guy that looked like Devil May Cry meets Final Fantasy.
Were we asking what was happening with this?
We asked about that like a week or two ago.
Yeah. Okay. Now I remember which one this one was.
It has now been like picked up by a full-on development company, and on the Sony PlayStation Store, they have like a full-on trailer showing it, and it still looks really cool. It's like kind of a character with like this little kind of floating dragon that turns into various different types of weapons.
Yeah.
I still maintain that it looks like a Final Fantasy and Devil May Cry had a weirdo baby. In fact, it also kind of looks like that Stranger in Paradise a little bit. Like
I can see that.
Reminds me a little bit of that. But still looks cool. Like fantasy, it's got a lot of interesting effects. It's got a super edgy boy main character.
Yeah, it's a little emptier than I remember, but that's
True.
not, that happens with some of these.
It'll be interesting to see, like, kind of how it ends up being at the end of the day, because all of what we're seeing here is the main character fighting one other enemy.
Yeah, it's just in like empty areas.
Yeah,
but everything still looks really nice. Like that's the difference between this and that. I forgot it was that. It was like that spin-off one. You know what I'm talking about?
Which one?
The woman Valkyrie thing or whatever.
Oh, Valkyrie Elysium.
Yeah. Where that was like it had that sort of same thing, but nothing in the background looked very good either.
Right. So yeah, kind of interesting though to see this thing make a comeback.
Yeah. I'm rooting for it to do well. I'm rooting for it to be good. Actually.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it because we need more indie developers being able to make really cool things.
Mm-hmm.
And after playing Gungrave War, it was about 50-50, depending on what you were looking at. Because one of the characters became more Barbie dollish as it progressed with their head movements, and it was kind of creepy.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see. We also got a combat trailer for Like a Dragon Ishin, the throwback Yakuza game. And it basically showed there's like 4 different combat styles. So you've got sword, gun, fists, and then sword and gun. But the one thing I think is really different about this one, Michael, is that I don't remember Yakuza being this like full-on bloody, like dudes getting slapped. Like there's a lot of punching a guy and then spit comes off his face, but not a lot of like painting the walls with people's entrails.
Well, it's very much it's a creative decision kind of thing. Like this is very much the sort of that style of just what's what I'm looking for. Like there's a lot of like things that you'll watch or play over that were around that were set during these time frames.
Yeah.
That had that sort of like slash and then a bunch of blood would pop out.
Right.
Like the Kill Bill did that a lot.
Sure.
Too. It's like that's the best way to explain is Kill Bill. Because that's the best Western one that I could explain.
Okay.
But it's harder to remember Japanese titles that did stuff like that.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know. I like it. I can't wait to play this. It looks like a bunch of dumb Yakuza fun.
A good example. There's one of the Samurai Showdown type games in the Japanese version was a lot like that.
Oh, okay.
Like when you actually did finish a character, like if you did your super at the end, it would make a bunch of blood fly out.
Yeah, I remember they would like slide in half.
Yeah. Bushido Blade was another good example of doing some stuff with that. But yeah,
but looks real good. Let's see. From there, we got a new Dead Island 2 trailer.
I still don't believe it's real.
This one was like kind of a walkthrough. Like talked a lot about LA and like, oh, we call it LA and like
I get it.
I'll tell you what, Michael. I don't think you got a chance to watch this before we started.
I did not.
I will say that the hacking up zombies is more like detailed and gory than I've seen before. Normally in a game, even the Yakuza game, it's like you slash and then there's like a little effect of blood like coming off. But there are a lot of zombies in here that have like meshes where they've got like big holes missing from them.
Oh.
And then like what you end up doing when you hit them looks a lot more like it affects the geometry of the zombies as opposed to some of the other stuff. This first part is talking about the kind of puzzles and stuff and the various landmarks. Yeah, there we go. So you can see kind of like, I don't know. It seems like a lot of times with these first-person games, you don't feel super connected to the thing that you're fighting.
Yeah.
Like there's kind of a space between you and what you're fighting, whereas here it's a lot more visceral.
Yeah. Like that kill that they just showed with the head was just fucking amazing, actually.
Yeah. There's a lot of like they showed the kind of crafting system of crafting different kind of elemental attacks and stuff. I don't know. Like, again, this is Dam Buster, the people that made Homefront 2.
Yeah.
This is Dead Island, something that's been rumored to be around for a long time. I like what I'm seeing here, but it's not enough to make me just like fully on board. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Well, it just needs to learn from the first game's mistakes.
Yeah.
One of the ones that we mentioned immensely was that you never felt overpowered.
Yep.
Like, so you never really had fun killing zombies. Like, it was always a fight to the death.
Yep.
And that was just kind of annoying as shit. And so this game looks like it's like, oh, wait, like if you get enough upgrades, you can be like the guy in the trailer who's just killing things and just relaxing about it. I'm like, that's what I want from this.
Also, there's a thing where you get they just say this in here. This is a spoiler. Skip over a couple minutes if you don't want to hear it. You get bitten in the beginning, and so you have like you're slowly turning,
I figured
and
as
you can
much.
like go crazy zombie Super Saiyan and just like tear people apart with your bare hands.
See, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like it looks good. Like it looks. That's nice high res. I like
It
the
looks
kinda,
a lot better the more it goes on.
like it looks. I'd rather play this than Dead Island or than Dying Light 2.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like this seems like it has more of a sense of humor than Dying Light 2. Also, they announced. I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, but they announced a really, really stupid integration.
What's that?
Alexa integration.
I'm sorry, what?
Where like you could say, Alexa, like give me something sharp, and it'll change your weapon to like a blade, or it's like Alexa, Hulk out or whatever, and you'll like do your like rage thing, or you could say like hey to the zombies, and like they'll hear you and turn around and like react to your presence, and I'm like.
You want to know what that screams to me, Jeff?
What's that?
Is that this game has been in development for so long
It was a Kinect game.
that it had Kinect support, and then that's no longer a thing.
Right.
That's exactly what that fucking is.
They were just like, well, can we make the Alexa do it? And they're like, yeah, I guess we could. That's
Like,
kind of
sure.
stupid, but
Okay, we can't just patch it out is the thing. So we're going to try to use it for something.
like I don't know. It looks all right. They actually made a full. they made a full trailer, and I don't know who's spending money on this, but like it's a live action trailer where 3 slayers come to a house and they find a copy of Dead Island 2 running. And then one guy goes outside to smoke and he has the Alexa headphones on and he says like, he sees a zombie and he's like, hey, and then the 2 inside are playing the game and they see like, hey, and the zombie turns around and so he's like inadvertently doing the commands.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I'm super good at this game. But I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
What is kind of the point? I don't know. It's
Maybe Amazon paid for this. Maybe they had like their studios.
They
were just
absolutely
like,
had to have been the one to pay for this.
Sure. So anyway, let's see. Speaking of crazy shit, we got another trailer for Pow World.
Oh my god, this fucking thing.
Yep, this one's called the Reveal trailer. I feel like they already revealed this game a while back. This is the one with the Pokemon that also has machine guns and shit in it.
Yeah, I forgot. I almost forgot about this, but every time it comes back up.
Yep. It's this one and then that weird one where everybody looks like a weird baby.
That one is also fucking strange.
Their knockoff Pokemon look really good. They look a lot like Pokemon.
If you told me this was a Pokemon trailer, I would have believed you.
Yep.
But
it looks like a
knowing what it
Pokemon
is,
trailer
yeah.
right up until the point where you see the main character pull out like a machine gun and start shooting the Pokemon.
Yep. Because a lot of them would make really good Pokemon designs.
Yep.
And then he pops out with an M4.
Yep.
And just starts shooting the shit out of them.
I'm still curious about like all of these like the Pokemon that they're putting to work as slave labor. Like, is that your person doing that, or is that like you're liberating them?
The fucking cut to the monkey with the AK-47.
Like the Chamchar or whatever,
Holy
but
shit.
with like an AK-47. Yeah.
And also, the next one, he's using a Pokemon like a gun.
Like a flamethrower. Yep.
Oh my god.
Here's a tank with Pokemon on it. Here's a bunch of Pokemon. It's like Mercenaries World at War and Pokemon had the weirdest baby of all time.
My favorite thing about this is that I love the fact that this is happening.
Yep.
Because I can't, I want to say I can't believe no one's ever thought of this.
Yep.
But everyone has probably thought of this at some point, but no one was ballsy enough to do it.
I think that everybody that thought about, well, let's just make it with actual Pokemon. And then they're like, no, we know that won't work. So let's make it with fake Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, it's just they're so close to like real Pokemon, but not them at the same time.
Yep.
That it's just enough that Nintendo can't sue them. Is really what's coming down.
Yep.
It's really fucking magical.
It's very weird. Go look at the Power World trailer, you guys. We got a trailer for a new Amnesia game. Speaking of terrifying horror, called Amnesia: The Bunker. That's supposed to be a lot more interactive than some of the previous Amnesia
I wasn't
games.
looking up Game Awards things.
Don't you look up Game Awards things. We're almost done, Michael. We're kind of almost done. We'll do one Game Awards before
I was just checking the time, actually. I just wanted to make that joke.
before we get done. So this one's like you're like a French soldier in like World War I, like stuck in a bunker, World War II, stuck in a bunker.
Uh-huh.
And there's like apparently supposed to be a lot more interactivity, a lot more like you can shoot stuff and you can like interact more with the environment than some of the previous Amnesia, like run and hide kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, that's nicer because, we've always been annoyed by the fact you can't, attack things.
Yep. And that's coming March of 2023. That's the same company that did you and I play the last one? Where it was like the lady in the desert
we did.
or whatever?
Yeah. And we found that one really interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. We also got a brief trailer for Blacktail, which is that weird Focus Interactive game about
the witch thing?
Baba, the lady with kind of like the weird split personality. I just want to put this in here because I think like the imagery on this thing looks great. Like it's all very weird and surreal looking.
I remember being very interested when this was announced the first time.
Yeah. Not much to it. It's a very short trailer, but I do like the kind of creativity that's on display here.
I want to say this was one of the Game Award ones that was announced a while back.
Oh, yeah. Also, it's coming out next week. Sorry.
Damn. That was fast. How did I not know that?
Yeah. It's coming out this week on Thursday.
What the fuck?
No, dude, there's so much shit that I didn't even realize was coming out that is coming out like
fuck me
this week. You want to know what else is coming out this week?
What?
Fucking River City Girls 2.
Is that also? Oh, my God.
Yeah. It's coming out on like Thursday.
There's
Like,
too many things,
Yeah.
guys. I'm literally in the middle of Midnight Suns now, and I haven't even finished Gungrave Gore.
that game's like 60 hours long too.
Fuck me. Maybe I should just finish Gungrave Gore.
Gris is coming out on the PlayStation.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I forgot about that.
From that's December 13th. That's this week as well. That's the one from the Switch that was very kind of surreal. I think you and I played that for like a Patreon or
We
something.
did, and we enjoyed it enough. But
Yep.
it was very serene. Is the best way of putting it.
Moody.
Yeah. So it's you got to be in the mood for something like that.
Yeah. We also got, I don't know if we had a full-on release date for SpongeBob,
Not that I know of.
this Cosmic Shake, but we do have a release date of January 31st of 2023.
Okay.
So really just packing it in here at the end of the year and the beginning of next year.
All you SpongeBob guys.
Yep.
God, that show has been on forever.
Also, we got the launch trailer for Dwarf Fortress, which came out last week.
And it's doing really well, apparently.
Yes. I don't know. Do you know what Dwarf Fortress is?
I don't. I found out about it after it came out.
So my friend used to play this game when I was in my 20s. This has been around for that long.
Oh, damn.
And it was an ASCII game. It was like a procedurally generated ASCII game.
That explains the visuals.
Had to like you had the dwarves. You had to create like an underground fortress for them to live in, but it was very meticulously modeled. It was like Minecraft, way before Minecraft, where like fluid mechanics were there. So you had to like make sure you didn't flood chambers. Everybody had specific, like, keep track of each individual dwarf, specific like food and desires and stuff like that. And then you would just play it, and it was kind of procedurally generated. Like back in the day when that was still a very early thing, where it was like, I remember my friend explaining it to me where it's like, well, what do you do? And it's like, well, you just play it and then stuff happens. And then it's like, well, wait, what's the story?
What's the objective? Yeah.
And they're just like, well, the story is just to play it. And then the stories happen. And I was like, okay. So they've been working on this for 20 years. This is the same guys that were making it back when my friend was making it.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And they finally got the full graphical overlay done. So it now has graphics as opposed to being an ASCII game. And
That's amazing.
And when it starts, it generates a history of the world that goes back like 20,000 years that determines certain things.
That's
and
crazy.
Then you have your dwarves, and you've got to keep them alive. At the very end, they show the guys that made this, and they're just like, we started making this game 20 years ago. We've never stopped. We're going to continue making this game until we can't make it anymore.
That's
like,
amazing.
These
And
guys
sold really well.
Yeah. It's a big game. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's the ultimate, these guys' passion project that they've never sold out. They've never signed to the publisher because who wanted it?
Yeah.
Who would look at this and go like, oh no, that thing for like 8 nerds, that seems like a thing we should spend money on. So they just are like updating and updating and updating and updating and
That's
updating.
amazing.
So,
Good for you guys.
yep. Let's see. Let me open up a couple of things here. Last on the trailer parade, Jeff Minter is reviving an old Atari arcade game called Aka R.
Huh.
Aka R, AKKAARRH. Back in the 80s, Atari created this game. It was called Aka R, and it was an arcade game, and it was deemed to be too difficult to put into arcades. 3 cabinets were produced.
Oh, wow.
But it was never released. And now Jeff Minter is basically putting out like a kind of a reimagining of it. That's going to be on like Steam.
Seizure. Fantastic.
He's the guy that did the Polybius game.
Really?
Yeah. That was on PSVR, because that was the one that was like supposed to be a psyop that controlled your brain, that was like an urban legend, and they made a version that you could play. But yes, so he came out, he's making Aka R, and it's coming soon to PS4, PS5, Switch, Series X, Series S, Steam, and the Atari VCS store, because this is an Atari game.
Yeah.
So
That's fascinating. That's amazing.
yeah,
Good for him.
it's very weird. I looked up some footage of what the original Aka R looked like, and it looked very boring, but something I would have played if it had come out in the 80s. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of those games, they looked boring per se, but at the time they probably were considered like really cool.
Yep. Let's see. Star Wars Jedi Survivor got a release date accidentally.
Yeah.
It was put on Steam March 2023. It was put on Steam and accidentally had a release date, and then there's some pre-order stuff where you can get like a Han Solo outfit or a Luke Skywalker outfit.
But the most surprising thing is gun.
Yes.
Because you didn't have a gun in the first one.
True.
And we didn't know that. We didn't know that he was going to have a gun. And I'm debating the deluxe edition because I just want that fucking Han Solo gun.
The DL-44.
I fucking love the DL-44. It's my favorite fucking guns ever.
But it doesn't have the sight on the top of it. Like,
maybe
why not?
Maybe it's an upgrade. Who knows?
Or maybe it's because when you use it in the game, you have to go into like first person for iron sights. It can't have a sight on it or
That's
something.
That's true. I don't know. Who knows? Well, because you could do that with the Battlefront 2 version.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I love that gun either way.
Yep. So, we know that's coming out. I've kind of lost a lot of interest, but I'm still going to play it. I mean,
I just hope it controls better than the first one. I had a lot of issues with the first one.
Yep.
And I liked it, but it was frustrating. It was very frustrating.
River City Girls 2, December 15th.
Out of nowhere, man.
Well, they've been teasing it for so fucking long.
Yeah.
Like last week, there was a story where they were like, "Oh, they put up a pack on the PlayStation Store that was River City Girls 1 and 2." And I was like, "Oh, did they put it out?" And it was like, "No, it's River City Girls 1 and your pre-order for River City Girls 2." And I was like, "Ah."
I may consider that. I don't know.
Vampire Survivors' first full DLC is also coming out this week, December 15th.
You ended up liking it more because you played it longer than I
did. Yeah, it's called Legacy of Moonspell, and there's like new characters, new weapons, and a huge new stage. So
good for you guys who got really into it.
Yeah. Also next week, Neon White is coming out on the PlayStation. Yes.
Well, that came out already for what was
PC.
it? PC. Yeah.
December 13th. It might have been on the Switch. I played on the PC.
I remember it being a Switch game as well.
Yeah, apparently December 13th it's coming out on the PC, and it's also on the PS5, PlayStation, and if you play it on the PS5, it also has adaptive controller support.
Oh, okay.
Hitman 3 put out their winter roadmap. All their Christmas bullshit is pretty much bullshit, but what this confirmed is that Hitman Freelancer is coming out January 26th.
Cool.
Having played the beta, I cannot wait to get all the way in there. Strangely, Eric Wolpaw, who wrote Portal, talked to Did You Know Gaming last week and said that they totally have a starting point for writing Portal 3. Like, apparently, based on all the stuff that happened, they have the idea for what Portal 3 would be. But then they also talk about how, there is no pitch process for Valve. You can't pitch games to them because they don't accept just game pitches. They get an idea and then they go out and decide whether they want to do it or not. I, for one, think, I said this before, I'm going to say it again, one of the glaring omissions from the Game Awards was that fucking Portal game for the Steam Deck that came out this year.
Yeah.
That game ruled. It was so good, and it ended with a giant Cave Johnson metal head, and it was awesome. So I would really like them to make a Portal 3. If you guys are allergic to the number 3 because of Half-Life, call it Portal Deluxe, Portal Redo.
Yeah, literally anything.
The new Portals.
To get a new Portal.
Yep. I have
Portal the Reckoning. I don't know. Something.
A bit of a mea culpa, Michael. I recorded with Bryce a few weeks back, and somebody put scans of every issue of Nintendo Power on the Internet Archive. And I was like, hooray, they've been archived. And Bryce was like, that's just going to get taken down for the end of the month. And I was like, no, it's not. And yes, it has.
Nintendo getting a Nintendo, man.
Yep.
Nintendo getting a Nintendo.
Yep. Which is a real shame because, I mean, you could still find a torrent or something of it, I'm sure. But
the thing is that, these are all things that, aren't available anymore. So, why even do that? I don't know. Nintendo's an asshole.
Or just put it on your own website, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Hire 2 guys and give them $20 and, make a website. It should be fine.
There's so many things you could... It's such a piece of history that you could just... That would be wonderful for people to keep looking at.
Absolutely.
That just frustrates me the hell out of me.
Speaking of frustrating, some people are frustrating that... I don't know if you saw this, Michael, but... the PC version of Spider-Man Miles Morales, we can't see it because it's an audio thing, had a really weird bug where when you finished a mission, when the person stopped their dialogue at the end of a mission, sometimes a really loud air horn would just go off for no reason. So it'd be like the guy gets done and he's like, good job, Miles. I know we can all count on you. I don't know what we're going to do about this situation with the Riddler. And then it'd be like, and then it would stop. It would just go off. It was like that was what would happen. And apparently they had patched it out. And there are a lot of people that are like, no, I want you to put it back. Make it an option, please.
Yeah.
I would like it to be an option because it was absolutely ridiculous when there was a very solemn moment. And then as soon as it ended, it would just go, brrr.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that air horn was for like challenges.
Uh-huh.
And I guess like the system had something that was like, it must have had something in it that was like, if something finishes, do this.
Yeah.
And that would just fucked up.
Yep.
That was just doing that for dialogue finishing. That's amazing.
Yep.
I fucking love that so much.
And last but not least, I gave you one more Miles Morales story. Apparently, the modders on the PC are trying to add in even more of the Spider-Verse style, like swinging. Like they're trying to alter the animations to be even a little bit more like the Spider-Verse than that one suit was. And it looks pretty well. I was going to let you look at it. I don't know that I could tell that much of a difference.
No,
but
there's a lot of differences.
Yeah.
Like the way
You've stared at Spider-Man swinging for 1 billion hours.
Yeah, because the way his movements are for like when he swings his legs and stuff. Like there was a very obvious one where he's like flailing kind of thing because it's based on when he first like is starting to try to swing.
Yeah.
When Peter's teaching him, as well as some of the very specific ones, the very specific poses that he doesn't do normally. Mm-hmm. As well as some of the twirling that he does. To quote the infamous review that guy did, he's got the swagger of a black teenager. Exaggerated swagger, that was the line. And it looks really fucking cool because there's a lot of stuff that he just does not do in the game normally. Yeah, that just looks amazing here. Cool. And man, I'm always happy with the way modders just adds just some of the coolest fucking things. They also added the version of the suit where he's wearing the hoodie and the shoes and stuff, like as opposed to the one that because they had that suit. We used it in our full playthrough of Spider-Man Miles Morales. Yeah, because it's just his normal the normal game costume. Where this is like designed to be for the Spider-Verse costume. Yep. So, yeah, I think it's probably only a matter of time, right, until there's like a full graphics overhaul. It just makes the entire thing look exactly like Spider-Verse. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's people probably will go for it. Like, people have done weirder things for no reason. Yeah, and I've always appreciative of the things that they were able to do with it, and it's just fascinating to me. Yep. What do you say, Michael? Should we do a live reaction? Should we pull up the Game Awards and do one live? Just see one thing that we didn't know about. Well, one thing. Just one Game Awards. I'll close my eyes. I would like one Game Awards, please. Oh, it's just Jeff Keighley talking, so we could talk. We could see what happens next. Hopefully this won't be... If he's just bringing somebody out. Let's see. We're about... an hour in. We're a little less than an hour in. He's like, it's my good friend Hideo Kojima. We're talking about his podcasts. Okay, world premiere. Okay, what do we got? We're going to end up with the world premiere. Oh, it's a Switch game. Fuck. What? Bayonetta? It's Bayonetta 3. Why is it? Is it DLC for Bayonetta? This game's already out, you guys. Is this a trailer for Bayonetta 3? No, it said world premiere. Yeah, I was about to be like, why would it be just a trailer? Oh, it's got to be DLC, right? It would have to be, right? Yeah. Which hopefully we made the game gayer, guys. Now you can shut the fuck up. Congratulations. Okay, so it's like a storybook that's going backwards. Bayonetta Origins? Is this like a... I don't know what that means. Is this a DLC that's like a prequel? Because the prequel to Bayonetta 3 is called Bayonetta 1. Oh, yeah, it's like a little top-down game. Cereza running around through like a little like storybook land and doing some platforming. This is weird. I don't know what to say. I don't know jack shit about whatever's going on here. Well, there were like 2D side-scrolling. Oh, that's the Cheshire Cat that Viola uses. In the game. Would this be an origin for the Viola side of the universe or whatever? Maybe it's possible that it might be tying the two stories together a little better because they really glossed over a lot of the details in of her in Bayonetta 3. So I guess it's got to be story content, but it's in this vastly because there was a whole side-scrolling thing
in Bayonetta 3 where you played as Jean, and it was like a stealth game.
Yeah.
So
it says before she became Bayonetta was what it said earlier.
Okay.
So
well,
this is a Bayonetta.
Cereza.
Yeah.
When she was a little Cereza.
When she becomes the Bayonettas.
And she's like an isometric, but then it's a very
She's like,
weird.
you too, lady, can be the Bayonetta.
It's a very weirdly different style than.
That's fucking fascinating.
Okay.
What the absolute fuck?
Origins, Cereza, and the Lost Demon. So
Cool.
March 17th? Man, they're really cranking those out.
Oh, I think it's just a whole new game.
Oh.
Because it just
yeah, spin-off
pre-order.
game?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's crazy as shit.
Okay.
Would not have guessed that.
That is weird. Oh, shit. There's another world premiere. Oh, wait.
Well,
okay. It's just back to Jeff Keighley.
He always just does that.
It's back
the
to
ending
Jeff
with it.
Keighley. Okay.
He's probably saying that was amazing. World premiere, whatever, Jeff Keighley shit.
If he does one more,
Super
we'll
excited.
do one more world premiere. If he does one more world premiere, but if he goes to like giving out an actual game award, then this whole thing can fuck itself.
He doesn't give awards out.
Oh yeah, Steam was giving away a Steam Deck every minute.
Really?
They're giving 180 Steam Decks or something like that.
That's fucking weird. Good luck with that, guys.
Yeah. Are you telling me you would turn away a Steam Deck?
I would, to be honest.
Okay.
Because everyone who gets one keeps saying you have to do a bunch of things to really make it be the thing everyone says they want it to be.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I don't feel like dealing with all that shit. I don't need a guide to make my Switch work.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. All right. Well, you know what? Jeff Keighley keeps you yapping. So, Michael, where can the people find you when you're not here watching the Game Awards with me?
You can find me on oneofus.net. We do use a lot of movie and television reviews.
Yeah.
I don't have any recent reviews on there, to be honest, but there's plenty of reviews on there that you guys could look at.
Yeah. Cool. And, patreon.com/RageSelect. Help us out. Kick us some bucks. The podcast takes a lot of work, so we'd appreciate it. I'm watching a commercial for Discord now, so this is officially the bullshit part of the Game Awards. Make sure to join us back here next week. It'll probably be the last podcast of the year, and then we'll be covering whatever comes out from the Game Awards. So, you guys already know the coolest stuff, but if you want to hear us react, we'll react to it next week. Bye, everybody.